So you wanna make a Lego game using some big property, but you already did Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and Lord of the Rings. Well, I think there's still one option that you've yet to explore. It's the series about a girl and her robotic dinosaurs. Now I know what you're all thinking, hey, isn't this a bit of a stretch? Horizon's fan base has been shrinking. It might be pretty, but there's always a catch. I've only met one person in my whole damn life who had an insatiable Horizon appetite. Everybody else doesn't care that much, but Herman Hulse doesn't really give a fuck. So here you go, world, it's Horizon again. If you got money, it's time to spend. It's got multiplayer, find a friend. Ooh, open up your mouth, girl, let me pour some Horizon in. It's sweet like honey, so give us all your money. Oh wait, oh fuck, no one's buying the game. I thought Horizon was as cool as Star Wars. I guess it turns out it's just kinda lame. Ooh, holy crap, oh no, why doesn't anybody care? Horizon is just as cool as all those other Lego games. Even though the evidence makes it seem like it's irrelevant, Lego Horizon flopped. I'm not sure why they bothered trying. Ooh, all of its fans must have been lying. Lego Horizon flopped, Horizon. Guess Sony is gonna have to try again. Skeep-a-doop-bop-boop, beep-a-deep-a-doo-da, Robo-dino-skip-bop, skip-bop, beep-a-deep-a-deep-a-boo-bop, going till the doo-da-beep-bop-a-noo-ta. Horizon should never had a Lego game. Whoever greenlit that must have been fucking insane. Lego Horizon flopped. I'm not sure why they bothered trying. All of its fans must have been lying. Lego Horizon flopped, Horizon. Guess Sony is gonna have to try again. Sorry Herman Hulse, guess he didn't make a new Star Wars after all. Sorry Herman Hulse, just another day of ya dropping the ball.
I drove my rusty pickup to the local game store door. Starfield gleamed upon the shelf, couldn't wait no more. Todd Howard spun his stories of galaxies afar, but when I fired up that game, I didn't get too far. Oh Todd, you sold me stardust, but gave me empty skies. Promised me the universe with all your alibis. I fell for all your stories like I always do. Starfield left me wishing for a game that's true. They boasted endless planets, each one unique and new. But after planet number 3, I'd seen a deja vu. The critics didn't love it, gave it mediocre scores. Just another space misfire echoed across the boards. Oh Todd, you sold me stardust, but gave me empty skies. Promised me the universe with all your alibis. I fell for all your stories like I always do. Starfield left me wishing for a game that's true. I searched for epic battles, but the AI wouldn't fight. Characters were wooden, and the dialogue was trite. Todd promised me the cosmos, but left me in the dust. Now I'm trading in this game, it's betrayed my trust. Oh Todd, you weaved a fable of worlds beyond compare, but all I got were glitches and load screens everywhere. Still somehow I'm considering when the next game's nigh, 'cause hope's a stubborn thing, and I'll give it one more try. Oh Todd, you sold me stardust but gave me empty skies. Promise me the universe with all your alibis. I fell for all your stories like I always do. Starfield left me wishing for a game that's true. True.
Good morning, everybody. Starfield did leave us wishing for a game that was true, indeed. How is everybody doing? How are you? I am cleaning my desk mat, so I don't have my my desk mat here. It's just the tabletop. Feels so naked, feels so exposed, but I'm glad to be here with you. I'll get through it. I'll get through it somehow. I will say, every time I clean off the desk mat, I'm always like, I should have done this sooner. Because desk mats, mouse pads, they all get so freaking gross. You don't even realize. Like mine is just black, so it covers it up real well. But you take it into the bathtub, a little bit of dish soap, you scrub it off, you rinse it off. It's pretty nasty. But that's why, I mean, it's just hand oils. Like, that's just what it is, you know. It's to be expected. But it's like brand new every time you finish washing it. So I've got it. It's been drying all night. Now I flipped it over and the rubber side is drying over in the corner, but it's still not quite there. And you don't have to be a genius to figure out that, like, rubber, you don't want to capture moisture under the rubber and then lay the rubber on top. Bad idea. So this, you know, you got to let it dry. Totally. That's the key. What's going on with Google and Chrome? I think it was the DOJ said that they think there's like concerns over anti-competitive stuff because it's, I mean, Google's whole thing, the whole thing with Google is that they control so many things that you use in your moment-to-moment life that they have all of the information about you, which makes their ads way more effective in targeting you. And so therefore their ads are more valuable. So advertisers use their ads. But that only works so long as they have all that special super duper info on you. And once they don't have that, you're in trouble. And that's the reason Google is kind of freaking out right now, is because it's like, if you take away Chrome, so they don't get to collect data from you when you use Chrome, there's been rumors for years about people wanting to like splinter off like YouTube and all of those other things that Google does. And I mean, I think that would be good for the consumer. I think that would be, you know, introduce some competition. But do I think that they'll ever actually do that? Probably not. Because, I mean, you got to remember, that represents like billions of dollars in losses probably for Ubisoft if they were to do that. Or for Ubisoft, it's because I had the Assassin's Creed thing pulled up, for Google if they do that. And so they don't want to risk that at all. If they were going to lose 10 billion, they can spend 9 billion lobbying lawmakers and stuff not to do it, and they still end up ahead, you know? It's why I was always told, I had a buddy who I used to play chess with at tournaments and stuff. Yes.
Shout out to the chess club.
And he went off. He's like a lawyer now. He's climbing the ranks of like a corporate law firm. I don't really understand how the specific ladder climbing works within law firms, but he's like a junior or something. I don't know, but he's doing that. And the reason, he told me when I caught up with him a year or two ago, he was like, yeah, no, I'm doing it because when you're a corporate lawyer, it's great. You just go and defend a company from like a lawsuit or something. And if they were going to lose $1 billion, if they lost the lawsuit, if you get the cost of defending the company and then the payouts and all that. If that ends up being $500 million for the company, it's still money well spent. He's like, you can make ridiculous amounts of money if you're just the corporate lawyer or like the lobbyist or whatever. It works wonders. Works wonders. And it's like, yeah, that seems kind of screwed up, but okay. That's just how it works, though. It's one of those things. Everybody knows it works this way, right? Everybody knows it works this way, but it's just kind of presupposed that it's scummy and too late to fix it. But anyway, yeah. So there's rumors that they might be reworking stuff to kind of force them out of it and force them into splitting off Chrome into a different thing, which probably a good idea, but it probably also is never going to happen because that's just how this works. Did they drop the stealth update for Assassin's Creed? Did they do that yet? They also announced they're going to be doing a big Q&A on Reddit. I think that's great. I think you should do a Q&A. That's probably going to be a disaster. Like, there's going to be so much toxic crap. But I'm glad they're doing it. But I'm like, props. Anyway. Remember Google Stadia? I remember. Brave is what I use. I use Opera on all of our stream stuff. It works solid. For all the music, for all the songs and stuff we've been playing, the like Chrome doesn't play it half the time. It's really weird. It's really stupid, but like Chrome will just glitch out and won't play audio. I don't understand, but that's how it is. Okay, so we do have a handful of things to go through today. Should be good. There actually is some fresh info from Assassin's Creed Shadows. There's news of layoffs at a studio. I'll let you guys guess. What studio do you think just experienced massive layoffs? Put it in chats. Put it in the chats. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think is a studio that might have just got hit with a bunch of layoffs? I'll let you ponder. There are discussions going on right now about the future of games within the D&D universe, because we know it's not Larian, but there's like a solid 2 or 3 probably that are in development that we know of today, and I'll tell you about those. Avowed got final previews. I did not play it. I think Xbox is a little bit upset with Wook because Wook did not like Starfield or Hellblade or Shattered Space. And I'm not sure that Indiana Jones looks that great, but you know, who can say? Who can say what? It's fine. I have more fun, frankly, covering this stuff after it comes out than like forcing myself to do previews and stuff. So I'm perfectly happy, but we'll look at those Avowed previews because people are getting more and more stoked on it. And this will come as a shock to a lot of people. Big shock. There's new footage for AC Shadows. And there's like a ton of improvements. Like it already looks significantly better than what we saw just a couple months ago. You might be totally uninterested just because of Yasuke. Okay, cool. Thumbs up. But if you're looking at the game and you want to see what it's like, there are major improvements. I'll show you. There we go. Indiana Jones doesn't look very good. It feels like it's on rails and looks very animation driven. Probably a lot of hand holding, I had to guess too. I think based on my extensive experience, based on my impressions of the game, it looks to me like it's going to be probably pretty short. I think it's going to be a lot of stealthily crawling around boxes. and then taking people out and then moving on to the next area where you stealth and crawl around boxes and take someone out. And it's frustrating because all the previews that people have been to, they come off and they're like, it's actually much more of a stealth game than an action game. And I'm like, it's Indiana freaking Jones. Doesn't it seem like it should be an action game? Like, some of the best parts of the movies is the big set pieces and the crazy things that happen. But I guess we're just going to stealth around. Blake, thank you for that. Did you see that Sony buyout is happening because the company that's being bought out doesn't want to deal with a hostile takeover from a South Korean company? I think it's called Kakao. Yeah, it's apparently Katakoa reached out to Sony asking if they were interested in being acquired. And that led them to this, but it's because they want to avoid a hostile takeover. And that's why I don't think it's going to be a straight buyout. I think it's going to be more of a Bungie situation where Sony probably buys them and then gets to retain control for a little bit. Or where the company gets to retain control. That's my guess. But the missus is calling real quick. I will let this AC footage play and then I'll be right back. Okay. I'll be right back. I'll just go on mute. Take it in. Take it in. Or I want to talk about this. I don't want to just leave it there. Let me play another snippet of Lego Horizon while I just answer my wife's call. Give me 90 seconds, okay?
So you wanna make a Lego game using some big property.
I'll be right back.
But you've already did Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and Lord of the Rings. Well, I think there's still one option that you've yet to explore. It's the series about a girl and her robotic dinosaurs. Now I know what you're all thinking. Hey, isn't this a bit of a stretch? Horizon's fan base has been shrinking. It might be pretty, but there's always a catch. I've only met one person in my whole damn life who had an insatiable Horizon appetite. Everybody else doesn't care that much, but Herman Hulse doesn't really give a fuck. So here you go, world, it's Horizon again. If you got money, it's time to spend. It's got multiplayer, find a friend. Ooh, open up your mouth, girl, let me pour some Horizon in. It's sweet like honey, so give us all your money. Oh wait, oh fuck, no one's buying the game. I thought Horizon was as cool as Star Wars. I guess it turns out it's just kinda lame. Ooh, holy crap, oh no, why doesn't anybody care? Horizon is just as cool as all those other Lego games. Even though the evidence makes it seem like it's irrelevant, Lego Horizon flopped. I'm not sure why they bothered trying. All of its fans must have been lying. Lego Horizon flopped. Horizon. Guess Sony is gonna have to try again. Skeep-a-doop-bop-boop, beep-a-deep-a-doo-da, robo-dino skip-bop, skip-bop, beep-a-deep-a-deep-a-boo-bop, going till the doo-da, beep-bop-a-noo-ta. Horizon should never had a Lego game. Whoever greenlit that must have been fucking insane. Lego Horizon flopped. I'm not sure why they bothered trying. All of its fans must have been lying. Lego Horizon flopped. Horizon. Guess Sony is gonna have to try again. Sorry, Herman Hulse. Guess you
Herman,
didn't make
no.
any Star Wars after all. Sorry, Herman Hulse.
Herman Hulse.
Just another day of ya dropping the ball. I'm vibing.
Damn, that's groovy. Okay, I'm back. Ooh, that timed out very nicely. That's like literally right at the end of the song. Okay, anyway, I'm back. Sorry, professional streamer. Normally, I did see one thing that was kind of cool. I think it was Tim the Tatman was doing it. He has this like game that you can put up on screen whenever he has to leave. And it's literally just like marbles. people put something in chat and then it adds a marble onto the screen, and then it dumps the marbles through like a maze, and you get to follow yours with your name on it, which is kind of cool. But anyway.
Rita S. is now a member.
Rita!
Hey Luke. The Warhammer figure you have next to Hogwarts, is it from Space Marine 2 or older? Greetings from Barcelona.
Barcelona! That's a good song. I tried to get my wife to listen to that song with me. She's like, I don't get Freddie Mercury. I was like, take it back. It's a good song. But yeah, it's a massive statue. I think it was Pure Arts sent me for like after the launch of Space Marine 2. Very, very good. Very, very good. It's beautiful. I do not encourage you to Google how much that damn statue costs, because it's like fully hand painted. If you've seen our like members only videos or studio tours and stuff, I've shown it to you. It's very, very well done, but like it even has replaceable hands like this. So you can swap it out with like a bloodied chain sword, and this is all like hand painted, hand done with the blood dripping off. It's like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So it's very, very nice. And they were very, very kind to send that over. And I appreciated how they did it too, because transparently, if they had sent that before my review, I would have been like, I can't really do a review now, because I don't want this to intentionally or unintentionally affect what I think about the game. But they sent it like after everything was done. And I was like, okay, so I've said what I think about the game. You guys know I'm a big Warhammer fan. Like, I've shown you guys the glass cases full of Warhammer stuff. That's badass. So that's cool. So I'm happy. I'm happy. And thank you for the membership. 18 months. That's wild. Thank you. Let me catch up on the rest of these. JPIC, thank you for 10 months. Apparently you were my most watched channel in YouTube gaming recap. That's what I'm talking about. Dude, I can't even tell you how many like messages and stuff I've gotten from people in the last few days showing that recap, where I think the top one I saw was like 72 times more. So like they were in the 0.1% of all Luke Stevens live watchers, and it was like, it's kind of insane. It was like they watched 72 times more content than the average watcher. It was like, Brandon is at 91x, dude. That's insane. That's crazy. Yeah, if you send that over, you'll be in the lead spot. That's wild. That's crazy. It's very humbling for me and for the team. It's very, very humbling. So we very much appreciate it. That's very cool. That's crazy. Sumaya, Luke, AC Shadows stealth details look really promising. I'm glad. Yeah, we'll look at it. They've made a lot of progress. It's like I said when they did the initial trailer drop back in June. I told you guys in like our reaction to that, just watch like Ubisoft and specifically this team at, is it Quebec or Montreal, whichever one it is. This team, they historically make huge leaps in the lead up to the game's launch. Like it comes out, first gameplay, it's like fine. Next one, it's like, whoa, you added like hair physics? How did you not have hair physics before? Whoa, you have all this stuff. Draw distances are way better. Foliage is way better. Pop-in is like non-existent. They make so much progress so quickly, which kind of makes sense. They have like 5,000 freaking people working on it. If you've not seen the Steam page, let me just show you. Let me show you. Look at the list of studios. Like, I think Quebec is the leading one. But seriously, like, so many studios and people work on this game. And every single one of these guys is in overdrive getting this ready. I bet you. They're like, we cannot have any any more oopsie poopsies with this game. We got to get it all 1000%. So we will talk about all of that. But yeah, the stealth stuff does look significantly better. I do agree. Let's see. Blake, thank you for that. Oh yeah, the buyout stuff with Sony. Yep, looks like they're just trying to avoid a hostile takeover. Yeah, that's why I think they're going to sell to Sony, and then Sony is going to be like, you guys can maintain control. We just want our cut, and we want the revenue after it passes all the way up, and blah, 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 blah. Not a bad way of doing it. But yeah, I think that that's how it's going to work. Let's see, where are we? I read that one. Rango, thank you for the 2. No Pal World at the Game Awards. Nintendo paid big. I think it may have been, and this is my little conspiracy theory. Okay, I want to be transparent. I do not have information about this. I'm not leaking anything. This is just me pulling stuff straight out of my ass. Part of me suspects that Nintendo has an announcement planned, a big announcement. Do you remember when they announced the Nintendo Switch? Do you remember? I'm pretty damn sure the trailers dropped in like October, the year before it launched. And the first like hands-on, I think, was with Jimmy Fallon. Yeah. And that hands-on was in December. So my brain is like, if they're planning on launching the Switch 2 next year, might they be planning a December trailer drop followed by a Game Awards like exploration or reveal of something or other? Like, might that be part of it? Where Nintendo is like, we want to reveal our stuff at the Game Awards. We want to do a big thing. But we would feel really awkward if Pal World were there, because we're in a lawsuit. It's like a whole thing. Maybe if Pal World wasn't there, we would still bring our new Switch. Jeffrey, please. And you know Jeff and corporations. He's like on his knees begging. So I'm sure Jeff is like, yes, Papa, yes, I shall do as you please. So I think there might have been a little quid pro quo. Conspiracy theory might have also just been people didn't think Pal World was that great. But especially to like not be nominated for best like action adventure, that's a little stupid. Like, that's a little silly. It could also, you could classify that as like indie hit, like breakout indie game of the year. It just seems really stupid that they're not doing that. So yeah. I don't think they'll go to late night television to do a big reveal for it again. Maybe I'll be surprised, but I just don't think that's what they're going to do. Okay. Did we get our guesses in for which studio experienced layoffs, by the way? I have it pulled up on my screen. I'm going to show you in just a second. Make your final guesses for who got laid off. Final guesses. This is your chance to shine. No cheating, no Googling, okay? Let's see. I read Rita's. Thank you again for that. And Blake, thank you for another 10. It's Boy Brandy is a YouTuber that looks at guns of games, and he said Starfield has the worst gun designs ever, and I'd agree. Bullpup revolver shotgun with a chamber. What? I mean, yeah, it's made by people in Maryland who probably have never handled a gun. I mean, are we that surprised? Are we that shocked? The most dangerous thing they have in Maryland is like water guns, high pressure water guns. Let's be real. Okay. Final guesses are in. Let me look through, see if anybody got it right. Some people are saying BioWare, Bethesda, Remedy. Remedy is kind of a good guess because they still have not turned a profit on Alan Wake. They've only sold 1.8 million copies. And it looks like they probably need like 3-ish to break even. Not even to turn a profit, to break even. Warner Brothers, Hyperlight, Remedy, BioWare again. Looks like Owl Massive is the only one that got it right. Owl Massive. When you guys see this, you're going to be like, oh, no, duh. Unknown 9 Awakening developer Reflector Entertainment has suffered layoffs. Developers have announced that they have been released from the company. That's a good, nice way of putting it. As first noticed by Kotaku's Ethan Gotch, I'm not sure how to say it, several ex-Reflector Entertainment employees have taken to social media to confirm that they are no longer with the company. Anna Karina Bermudez, former narrative designer and game designer on the project, wrote on LinkedIn, "Unfortunately, I was affected by the layoffs at Reflector, which means I'm currently looking for a job as a narrative designer or game writer." Manao, I'm not sure, a former brand manager on the project, wrote, "Hi everyone, I was affected by the layoffs as well. I'm seeking a new role in marketing, social media, community management, effective immediately." This isn't like a total surprise. Of course, we know kind of how this story went. If you somehow have not heard of the game Unknown, if it's unknown to you, I'm not really surprised. But Unknown 9 Awakening was not received super well. Concurrent player counts don't tell you much of anything. That's not why I'm pulling this up, okay? The reason I'm pulling it up here, it's a single player game. Who cares about concurrent player counts? But the reason I'm pulling it up is because if you go here, they have guesstimations for ownership. And these guesstimations are usually generous. Typically, like for example, we know that Concord, we got confirmed from Sony that they sold 25,000 copies across PlayStation and PC, and their owner estimations ranged from 20 to 55,000. Realistically, it was about 10,000 on PC, about 15,000 on PlayStation. So these are typically really, really generous. And if those are really generous, historically, you know, the other ones like Play Tracker basically had it doubled. VG had it about doubled. I mean, that should tell you they sold 5 to 7,000 copies, maybe. The lowest estimation, Gamealytic, this one might actually be more close to correct because I think a lot of people probably ended up returning this when you look at the reviews. I don't think many people played this all the way through. I looked at the gameplay. I was thinking of making a video on it, and I was like, there's some games that are so bad they're entertaining, and then there's games like this, which are just nothing. Like, there's just nothing to really talk about. It's just bland and uninteresting and just, bleh, you know, there's just nothing really there. If Unknown is so bad, how did they make 8 already? That is a great question, Ace. That is a phenomenal question. But yeah, what's even crazier is Bandai Namco published it. Literally, the same company that published Elden Ring thought they had potential in this. Figure that one out. I know they don't own the rights anymore. I understand. But they did when they published it, okay? Makes you really wonder what they saw in it. Like, did they just see the actress from The Witcher and they're like, yeah, that'll do well. It's just crazy. Like, it's rare to have a game that literally appeals to no one. But this is what's been fascinating about the games industry in 2024 is that we've had a lot of games that just kind of go absolutely nowhere. And they have a lot of money behind them. There were millions of dollars tied up in this. But they could only pull 17 recent reviews, 74 total. Yeah, see, this person, I think, refunded. It says they received it for free, maybe as a graphics card promotion or something. So even some of these player counts are probably not even accurate because it's a lot of free copies. Yeah, AMD promotion. So it's a lot of the people playing this, I'd say half of them did not buy it. Man, it was given with Warhammer from AMD Rewards. Warhammer was great. Was curious about this one. Downloaded it. Oops. So yeah, I'm not surprised. I get the feeling that they probably knew that this was going to go down this way, which is why they didn't bother marketing it super heavily. I think they were like, let's not risk it. Let's just cut it. But it's still too bad when you see people lose their jobs, but it's also like your job was to make a good game that people wanted and would buy, and your team failed at that. And that's just how it works. Like if I make YouTube videos you guys don't want to watch, I don't make money and I don't pay my bills. My job is to give you videos you want to watch. Their job is to make a video game you want to play. And somehow that's just not ever come into the equation. And this is like, again, I've said it 1,000 times, but it's really important to just hammer home again. Once again, there's so many of these games that exist seemingly independent of the consideration of whether people wanted it or not. You would think if you were going to spend years making something, spending millions on it, at some point you would stop and ask, does anyone want to play this? Will anybody want to buy this? Surely that should be one of the first things you ask. But no. I mean, it never seemingly comes up. It's just, no, you're going to play this and you're going to like it. You know, I don't understand the entitlement that is tied up in so many of these projects where they're just entitled to your money. They're just like, no, you're going to buy it because this is not a good game. It's an important game. Or this is not a good game. This is a game that means a lot to us. It's like, okay, well, this isn't kindergarten anymore. Okay. Your parents that came to your lemonade stand, even though your lemonade was just watered down yellow fluid, and they still bought it for $5 a cup and they patted you on the head, said, good job. We're not toddlers anymore. Okay. If you made bad lemonade, I'm not going to buy it. But they're going to keep doing it. But this is once again, why I'm more confident in the industry than probably I ever have been before. And that's because money talks. And if these types of games are hemorrhaging money, they will not get greenlit. They're going to be radioactive for all of these executives. You know what all the executives are looking at right now? They're looking at games that popped off this year that really connected with a wide audience. They're looking at games like Helldivers. They're looking at games like frickin' Space Marine 2, which was a relatively small budget project that exploded, made tons of money. They're looking at games like that, like Pal World, smaller budget, just a really fun idea that they expanded on. You know, Black Myth, solid action game. It's not trying to do anything too crazy. It's just really high and very talented people that made a really solid action game that looks cool. You know, like sometimes it's not more complicated than that. But I think this is what happens when people get really comfortable and they feel entitled to your money. They'll just start throwing this stuff even though nobody really needs it. What was really, really telling though was like the money that was tied up in games like Dustborn. Where yeah, there was a lot of money. Yeah, here. Following reports of Dustborn receiving funding from the EU, U.S. government spent $250,000 on a counter disinformation type game. There's a lot of these stories where there are government grants tied up in the funding of these games. Like this one, where is it? Development. Yeah. Red Thread Games received financial support from the Norwegian Film Institute from 2019 through 2025 or 2024, totaling 15,600,000 NOK or krona, approximately $1.5 million. These were grants and financial support, meaning they, as a studio that had never made anything, they got $1.5 million. So they didn't need to ask if anybody wanted it. They didn't need to ask. Like, because it wasn't, I mean, to a certain extent, people laugh and joke. This is just a money laundering scheme. I mean, to a certain extent, they're getting government money to make a game and they never have to ask if people are going to buy it. It's starting to sound like they're just taking the money and doing whatever they want with it. Like, they're not developing a solid game. They are under the scheme of, quote, development of games after artistic assessment. The game also received a grant of 150,000 pounds, or euros rather, from the EU's Creative Europe project and 300,000 krona from Viken Film Center. I'm not sure what that is. But the point is, a lot of the money that was developed or pulled in to develop something like this was given no questions asked. It wasn't investment. It was like government funding for creative projects. And a lot of projects that also came out of COVID started in the same way, where they were funded with government grants and stuff like that. And so it almost doesn't, it's not surprising at all when you see that the projects end up being garbage, because it's like, yeah, the check was written without any questions asked. There was no verification that this is a good idea, that this is going to turn a profit. How, like, who does this appeal to? What's the market like? Any investment, you are expected to come in with a game plan, with a business plan. If you've ever watched an episode of Shark Tank, you know exactly what the kind of expectations are in a sort of dumbed down way. But with these multi-million-dollar video games, they never ask those basic questions. Like, these wouldn't have been funded on a show like Shark Tank. Nobody would have given them any money because nobody wanted to buy these. But because they're getting grants, because they're getting funding from all of these groups that are looking to, like, fund important games, that consideration never enters the equation. Oh, Brennan, thank you for the correction with £5. To be fair, Red Thread Games developed 3 games before this, and the director has been making games for 25 years, including some big ones like Dreamfall. Dreamfall? Dreamfall. That doesn't ring a bell, but I probably am just unfamiliar. Dreamfall, The Longest Journey. It was on Xbox in 2006 to 2007. Huh. Okay. Released April 2006. And I'm not familiar with that. Anyway, it's, with all this, I just think it's not surprising that the layoffs hit the way that they do. When you make a game and you never stop to ask, does anyone want this? You shouldn't be surprised when nobody does. Let's see. Escrill or Skrill, thank you for that first time chat. Hi Luke, looking into the PlayStation From Software rumors, I feel like it's a bit fake. The reason for me is that didn't we hear Sony was buying another AAA company, CDPR, but nothing happened? I feel like this is the same thing, or no? No, it's not the same thing. My recollection, and please chat, correct me if I'm wrong, my recollection is that those rumors of Sony buying CDPR were literally just people on Twitter/X making stuff up, being like, I have an anonymous source because my dad totally works at Sony and has told me that this is what's going to happen. Here, the actual company, Katakoa, they are coming out and saying, no, we have a letter of intent to purchase. We're exploring it. Yep, we are talking about this. We're doing it. Whereas CDPR was like, no, I don't think we are. Let me see if there, I mean, maybe I missed an article. Let me see CDPR buy, or maybe Sony buying CDPR rumors. Yeah, like right here, look. Ola Sonde, I'm not sure, PR rep with CDPR, came back and just said, yeah, we're not in such talks with Sony. This is back in May of last year. So they were just rumors on X. And they were just like, nope. Nope. So I don't think it's the same. We talked about it on stream yesterday or 2 days ago. But they already confirmed that Sony sent a letter of intent to acquire it. And that no decision has been made. If there are any facts that should be announced in the future, we'll announce them in a timely and appropriate manner. And people with knowledge of the situation are saying that they're currently in the exploratory phase to hold off a hostile takeover from a Korean company. Because a Korean company wants to come in and do a hostile takeover of Katakoa. And of course, Katakoa doesn't want that to happen. So they're looking at Sony, another Japanese company, to buy them out and do it that way, because they don't really have the money to retain control of their own company. So more corporate intrigue, whether Sony's the one that buys them out or if it's another like big Japanese conglomerate. It's kind of hard to say, but yeah. Bloodborne is dead for Sony. I mean, there's probably some licensing thing where there's like some legal hook with Japan Studio and with this like From Software versus Katakoa and Sony. Acquiring them would certainly make it a lot easier if that is the reason we haven't seen it. But what Joe Raptor was saying, Joe Raptor had a funny point on the podcast where he was just like, I don't think that they're that worried about a Bloodborne project. He was like, Elden Ring sold way more than Bloodborne did. He's like, if they're going to have an exclusive for next gen, make it Elden Ring 2. Do that. And I was like, honestly, makes sense. Why not give it to Bandai Namco? Give what? Do you mean like, why don't they buy them out? I mean, I don't think they have the money. Maybe they do. How big is Bandai Namco? Close that, close that. Dude, I swear Google is like so useless now. You kind of have to use Gemini or something. I mean, they're a decent sized company. 2.07 trillion yen is approximately 15.4 billion US dollars. So Bandai is big, but whether they have like the cash to buy up somebody like that is another question. I don't know. Sony they already freed up $10 billion to do that merger with that Indian company, Z. And now that fell through, they're just kind of sitting on this stockpile, this pile of cash. Gone UV, did you mention the DLC in your Star Wars Outlaws video, or did I miss that? I mentioned it in passing. We didn't try it or play it because I was mainly looking at the improvements they had made. Since the DLC is like a separate thing from the base game and most people have problems with the base game, my view was if we cover what the base game is like and figure out if they improve that, then that could inform somebody's purchasing decisions for the DLC. But I want to make sure they've made improvements to that base game that you're going to have to play first anyways. And they've made a lot of improvements. The TL didn't watch was basically they've made improvements. It's better. Blah, blah, blah. Should have been like this at launch, but it is better. But I don't think it's good enough yet to be like a full redemption. It still has a long way to go. Rambling Entertain, thank you for the 5. If Sony buys them, good luck to FromSoft. The majority of Elden Ring sales were on PC, and Sony has been acting we-totted. Oh, I had to say that out loud to get what you were saying. For a second, I was like, is that a reference to Todd Howard? And then I saw we-Todd said, okay, you got me. You got me. That's funny. With their PC push. Well, we know that they're keep ramping it up. I mean, that's their whole push is to do more PC projects. Day and date, presumably. That's what they're going to be doing with Marathon. That's what they're going to presumably be doing with Fair Game, $. As for their like big exclusives, it's hard to say whether they justify that. But that's another thing. Like, even if they launch a sequel to Elden Ring or something on PC, like, I think they're still happy. They're still getting lots of money. And also, the majority of Elden Ring sales were on PC. Do we actually know this split? Do we know this split? I'm not sure if we do, but if we do, I'd love to see that. Because the PC port is still really stuttery. Like, I still have tons of problems. I can't play it on PC. It's like, it's way smoother on PlayStation or Xbox. Just because of the engine, the way that they have it working. Given that damn near every Ubisoft game has struggled, I don't think Shadows will do well or as well, especially after the Battle Pass controversy. Yeah, I mean, this is why it's so, the covering AC Shadows is so funny and interesting, because all this stuff has been rumored for like 2-3 years. So for me, none of this is like breaking news. None of this is surprising. Even the Yasuke stuff, it's like, yep, we knew about this back in like 2021. All of this already leaked. So none of this is like that shocking to me. But the Battle Pass thing, what is interesting is that since the Star Wars Outlaws stuff, it seems as though Ubisoft, part of the delay was to reevaluate the monetization scheme because they realized it was going to go over so poorly, it would just be even more negative press. Because like we said on the podcast with Joraptor, I really think not that long ago, these battle passes were going to be paid. There's verbiage that implies that. There's leaked information that implies that. That's not that old. I think just 3-4 months ago, those battle passes were going to be maybe $5 for the mini ones, $10 for the big one, and that's how they were going to do it. And they were like, it's fine because it's just cosmetics, but still people don't like the idea of paid battle passes in a single player game. They just don't. And I think during this delay, they decided to pull all of that and then go free to play for it. I think that's the right choice. I still don't really like battle passes in single player games. I don't really like them in multiplayer games either. I know some people grind out battle passes and they're like, ooh, I got to do my dailies. Ooh, I got to do that. I get that some people are like that. My brain does not work that way. I'm just like, it's more tedium. Like if I'm playing Warzone, if I don't want to do thermite grenade kills, I'm not going to do it. I don't need your battle pass XP. I'm good. You know? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The head smiter. That's a good name, by the way. I have enough chores in my real life. I don't need gaming chores too. Exactly. But let's pivot to that real quick. New segment. Blake, thank you for the 5. They say it's free. I bet they will do exactly what they did with Valhalla and wait a bit after launch to implement and nerf resources and XP gain. Yeah, but like, if they did that with all of this, I think a lot of their problems would be solved. If they just said, we're exploring a battle pass or something to come in the months after launch once people have played the single player campaign, and our most hardcore fans remain. That I think is totally valid. Do whatever. After I've played the game, if you want to go back in and replace all the bosses with gigantic flying pixies, cool. Props. I don't care. I already played the game. I'd like to be able to play the original version eventually, but like, okay. Or if you're going to go and, like with Helldivers 2, after launch, you add in a bunch of new skins that are neon pink and are My Little Pony themed as a DLC. I'm not going to buy them, but I'm sure some people are. And if that means the studio makes more money for making a solid game, cool. But wait till after launch, wait till it's just like the diehards that are still there, and then get more experimental with your monetization. But doing it right at launch just feels bad. And the other piece too, that's kind of the more pressing issue, is that when you do that stuff, the perception is that you prioritize that over everything else, even though it's different teams. Like straight up, if we have like the base game is this big chunk, and then we have a little bitty, we'll make it green for money. We have a little bitty box over here that's the monetization. Then we have like marketing stuff, and then maybe we have DLC over here. All of this is being worked on by different teams, right? Different bubbles of teams all over the world. And a lot of it may not necessarily cross over, right? So you have all these different teams that are working on stuff, and these guys might all be assigned to the base game, and they're all working their asses off, doing good work there. But then this one little team is assigned to do the microtransactions and the skins for the battle passes, and they're assigned to that. And then these people go to marketing, and then these people work on DLC. Even though it's only one comparatively small group that's working on this thing that's totally separate from everything else. If this is buggy, if this isn't ready, the perception is you only cared about this if this is still polished and done, because this should be a lower priority. Even though it's a separate team, even though they don't really have anything to do with each other, like this team, even if this team wanted to help with this, they really couldn't make that big of a difference. So even though this has nothing to do with this in terms of quality, the perception is that you prioritize the store over everything else. I just realized this kind of looks like anyway. So I do think that is part of the reason that they've done this, is because if Shadows launched and had some bugs, had some issues, it was going to go over real poorly if the in-game store were immaculate. You know, would have looked real bad. Real bad. Peps Game, Luke, are you going to do a review on Avowed? I honestly don't know, because it's coming out like right next to a bunch of other big stuff like Kingdom Come, like AC Shadows, like, you know, Monster Hunter is close to that. It's coming out in the same bubble as a lot of huge games. And so I'm not really sure if it'll be at the top of my priority list, but time will tell. Time will tell. Because again, my job is to make content that you guys want to watch. If more people will want to watch a Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 review, that's my priority over Avowed. Like, that's just how it has to be. But anyway, oh yeah, hold the line. Got to do it. But anyway, new segment. La la la. So, fresh off the presses, I have the version of this video from the one and only Joraptor, but it was distributed across the internet all over the place. But we're going to look at his version because Jor is, he's a fellow podcast host, part of the Free Roam show. We got to support our boy. So this is brand new footage from, all right, sorry, I got to proper intro, make Jacob's life easier. New segment. It finally happened, guys. It finally happened. We have, of course, that's when it pops off. I'll try that again. I'm sorry. Isn't it here? Isn't it fun being here for the live thing? Isn't it great? Isn't it great? New segment. For real this time. It finally happened. We have a fresh look at gameplay footage for AC Shadows, and we gotta get the obligatory, like, if you don't like Yasuke, if you don't like that's all totally cool, props, thumbs up. But Like, we're looking at the gameplay, we're seeing what they've done. For me, the big takeaway is just how improved so much of this is over the footage we saw just a month and a half ago. Already, it seems like the delay is paying dividends, which is a little funny that like they've been able to make such improvements so quickly. Everything from like the hair sim on Nawe is greatly improved. I don't remember seeing it at all in previous footage, but that's improved. Draw distances also greatly improved. Little bitty effects such as the dust when Nawe steps on a dirty ground is improved as well. Like, they really have tweaked a ton of stuff. It's just visually, it's notable. Little things to point out though, just so you're aware if you've not heard or seen it, the orange outlines are for like a different tier of character. One of the problems with like the old games, problems is maybe a strong word, but you'd go into one of these castles or one of these big encampments and everybody was like this evil bad guy. Like, every single one is this horrible, awful, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it never really made sense because you're like, in this big castle, there'd probably be some people who are just working, who are not trying to hurt you, who don't care that much. They're just like servants, or they're cooks, or they're this or that, or they're a visitor, or whoever. That's what these orange outlines are. They are characters or NPCs in the castles that will call for guards, that will call for help, but they're not guards. They're not armed. They're not like gonna fight you if they see you. They're just more civilians, basically. So that's something that they've added here that is notable. The other piece to this, obviously elephant in the room, are levels and then assassination labels on these. The other piece back here, as Nawe was walking, you see levels, and then here you see a skull. As Nawe gets closer, you'll be prompted for assassinations or not assassinating. But basically how this worked in Valhalla was, if you see the number above their heads, you can assassinate them, you can kill them. If you see the skull above their heads, they are a significantly higher level than you. You can technically kill them, but it's going to be a lot harder. It's like going to Skellige in The Witcher 3 at level 12. You can technically kill the guys there, the just regular bandits, but because of the level scaling, it pops like crazy and is exponentially more difficult. They have already confirmed, though, that they will allow you to go in and toggle in the settings the one-shot like assassination. So by default, I believe the big brute enemies you won't be able to assassinate if you're like 10, 20 levels beneath them, but you can go in the settings and turn on one-shot assassinations should you desire. They recommend you don't because the game is kind of built around this level scaling, but if you want to just have one-shot assassinations, you can turn that on in the settings. Again, similar to what they've done in other games. As they go on, we go here. Where's the story trailer? They've already shown the like roadmap, and that is coming. They're going to do a big story reveal thing. We'll look at that when they do that. But yeah, it's coming. The game is still months away. They redid all of their marketing stuff in reaction to Star Wars Outlaws, so all of it's changed. But you can see the themes around light is also a big thing, where you're going to be able to knock out lanterns to take out characters and enemies. The other thing that they have talked a little bit about, but apparently is like one of their big priorities, is the wind system. I wonder where they got that idea. Where you'll see a lot of foliage and like leaves blowing in the wind. They're able to simulate something stupid like 100,000 leaves at any given time on screen. Frankly, it's insane, but they say they're able to simulate crazy numbers of particles blowing through the environment, which is why you'll see kind of swirling leaves blowing with the wind and all of that. But take out the dude, and this is something, these are what they call like rejected assassinations, or I forget what they call them, disrupted assassinations. Basically, their idea was that they wanted samurai and they wanted higher level like brute class enemies to not be as easy to assassinate as just a dude standing around. So again, by default, enemies will be able to counter or at least defend themselves a little from the assassination. Or this guy, he just straight up says nope. But that's again something you can tweak in the settings. They also have added prone, so you can lay down in the ground to go through levels. Yasuke, boing, boing. Dude, the blood effect is aggressive. Did you see that? Oh, God. They've also like totally overhauled, it looks like, the hair systems as well as motion blur. You can also see, look at Nawe's feet when she's stepping on the floor. You'll see the sound is reflected visually there. Instead of like a separate little bubble that shows you how much sound you're making, it's shown in circles around each of her footsteps.
Our forces will join up there. That's enough.
This one, I'm going to show you this. I wanted you guys to see if you if you notice anything that is, because Justin just put something in chat that I think is perhaps interesting. I want you to notice, see if you notice anything strange here. I saw this, I was like, what? Just watch. It's very short. Just short snippet. There's two pieces of this. Where on the one hand, they do react to the smoke bomb. That's good. These two immediately run away and just run outside the smoke. They don't want to be in the smoke because they can't see there. So they run out. The one where like the smoke bomb landed closest to is like stunned, I guess. But it's not super clear because they just kind of run off immediately and then leave him there. I'm not sure if this is one of those like bug or a feature moments where, oh, if you throw the smoke bomb right at somebody's feet, it stuns them and then they can't run off. Maybe that's what this is. Otherwise, I like, is this a different class of enemy because he's wearing armor and so he doesn't get frightened and doesn't flee with the smoke? You know, I just want to know why these two enemies are behaving so differently than this one. If it is just proximity to the smoke bomb, that's interesting. Like, that's a cool mechanic. Let me know if that's what it is. Or if it's that different classes of enemies react differently to stimuli like this. I'm just not sure because they're behaving very differently, but I don't know why. Skill tree or gear difference, maybe that could be it. That could very well be it. Gas mask, clearly. I mean, unironically, it could be that this character is wearing like one of those masks, and maybe that filters the smoke or something. I don't know. I don't know, but it's something that we'll pay attention to as time goes by. But once again, Hair Sim is also significantly improved. This was something that I don't remember seeing at all in the base game, or in the initial trailers rather. But they've totally overhauled it. The animation looks way smoother. I can't talk. Way smoother. I mean, just that little side flip, assassination, and then somersault. Like that was a pretty smooth animation. I haven't seen an animation that smooth in Assassin's Creed in a while. I'm used to AC Valhalla, where it's just like a walking brick at all times. Like, honestly, Eivor is kind of animated like this, where it's like, oh no, an enemy. And then you just keep going. That's basically all of AC Valhalla.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
So sorry, Valhalla. But this is actually quite smooth. They've done a lot of reworking on it, I think. Dude, the disrespect. Being able to take an enemy I don't remember the name of the weapon, but it's like into the bushes to cover him up and then take him out. Like that's pretty hardcore. Now, part of what I think makes this footage look particularly good, this might be blasphemy for some, is they have a really solid cinematic motion blur. That I think helps it a lot. I think this is also a fidelity mode that's being shown, as you can see in our stats for nerds. We are running at 30 frames through all of this, but the strong motion blur makes it feel more cinematic. So they're cranking quality first in the footage, and then they're also using a really strong motion blur, which leads to this more polished cinematic look. But I think it's actually implemented quite well. There's good motion blur implementations, and then there's really bad motion blur implementations, and this seems to be a solid one. But as you can see, like, watch Nawe's feet as she's stepping on the ground. Each step has a little puff of dust with it that's not comical. You can see there's a key up there. There's this point of interest. There will also not be the eagle mechanic again, so you're not going to have an eagle or a hawk to send up into the sky to observe fortresses pinning enemies before you go in. They're not doing that this time. They said they want gameplay to feel more moment to moment, as opposed to do a ton of planning for 10 minutes with marking every enemy individually here and then going in with this thing that you saw. They want you to be more immersed in the actual assassin gameplay, as opposed to using a bird to play most of the game for you. But they paired this with a big article where they went through each of these clips and they kind of described some of the things that I've been describing to you so far. Hiding in the shadows, staying low, going prone being a new big thing that they're pushing. It sounds like there's a big difference between what Yasuke and Nawe are going to be able to. So they'll both be able to go prone. But for example, in that clip of, oh, it's going to make me really, I gotta put in my age. I'll go back to the video. In this footage, for example, where Nawe is crawling on the ground, assassinates, and then does this little, like, goes back prone. Doesn't sound like Yasuke is going to be capable of that, which makes sense because Yasuke is supposed to be gigantic, so not going to be anywhere near as capable of stealth sequences. Like with this, Nawe is making a little bit of sound as she stealths through this area crouched. Yasuke would be making lots of sound here. So the whole idea is that they play very, very differently. They do not seemingly want to have another AC Syndicate situation where the characters are different and they're supposed to play differently, but like by the end of the game, they all kind of play the same. So, you know, what's the point? But I mean, again, part of being skeptical is holding somebody's feet to the fire until there's evidence to support a conclusion. And when you see solid evidence that points in the direction of something, you have to be honest about that too. This is a notable step up from what we've seen previously. And the other footage we saw, animations were really, really clunky. They didn't seemingly blend super smoothly together. Here, it seems like they've done a total overhaul of a lot of the fine touches. Everything from cloth sim, as you can see, moving with Nawe, everything from the little ribbons to the cloth on the front and the back, the tassels, everything, the shoulder pauldron, everything is being simulated. That stuff is all significantly improved. The hair sim is way, way better. It seems like they've made a lot of progress. So shocker, when you give devs time to polish stuff up, they can do a good job of it and really, really refine it. So they are making progress slowly but surely. And this is just the first of a number of big updates that they're going to be doing. So they're going to be doing this one. They have, where is it? I think this is the article. Yeah, here. So you see they have stealth, they have combat, they're going to have a parkour overview. They're going to have exploration overview where they talk about that. Closer to the game's launch, they're going to be talking about the story and sort of what the narrative is throughout this whole thing. But they are really trying to focus on polish and refinement at this point, and it does seem like they are making a good amount of progress based on this stuff that we're seeing. Again, as always, don't pre-order, for the love of God. Like, never pre-order. I can't believe I have to keep saying this, but don't pre-order. We're gonna keep an eye on it. I don't know how this is gonna turn out. I don't think Ubisoft does either, but I do think that this is a significant step forward. Seeing what they're already able to do after just a few months of polishing work gets me excited, because I'm like, okay, we're making progress. This isn't one of those situations where it's like, yeah, we delayed it 6 months just to get it running. No, it seems like they're actually like making some improvements. They're increasing the shine, all of that stuff, which is good. Sumaya, I'm really interested next in parkour details. Personally, the only thing I don't like is the automatic highlighting of small treasures in the area, or of all the treasures in the area. It's very possible that that stuff is something that you can toggle off in the menu and settings. Historically, AC has had a lot of customization when it comes to UI and all of that. Vivek, I don't care. I will be pre-ordering. But what if I want the pre-order bonus? Sucks to suck. Didn't they take away the pre-order bonus too? I think they did. Hi, Luke. I'm playing Odyssey just because of you. Good. Dude, I've been trying to convince my wife to play Odyssey. I stand by that. That game is way better than anybody gives it credit for. I mean, honestly, it's had a resurgence and like a renaissance recently. So a lot of people are much more, I think, I'm sort of preaching to the choir a lot nowadays, but back in like 2018, 19, 20, 20, in that era, it was not that popular to say that you thought AC Odyssey was kind of a gem. You're supposed to just hate it for the sake of hating it. But I was like, no, honestly, as an Assassin's Creed game, yeah, it's bad. As an AC game with stealth, basically there's no stealth. But as an open world like adventure game, an adventure RPG, it's actually very good. It's huge. There's tons of stuff. Most people's problems with it is that it's too big. There's too much stuff, you know? Yeah, it was nominated for Game of the Year against God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2. Obviously, it wasn't going to beat those because those are like once in a 15-year period games, but it still was in that same category for people, or for critics who historically are not that forgiving for Ubisoft. So it's very good. It's very good. Is that the Greek? Yeah, it's Greek. Egypt is Origins. Yeah. But anyway, all of this to say, we're going to keep an eye on AC Shadows. We're going to keep looking at it. I think my general approach is like, kind of like the Hogwarts Legacy thing. If you don't like some of the extenuating circumstances of the game, in the case of Hogwarts, it was J.K. Rowling. Or in this case, if you don't like Shadows and you don't want to buy it or play it because of Yasuke and the things surrounding that, cool. Proud of you. But my job is to cover games, and I'm going to cover the game. And then you can make up your own mind as to whether you want to buy it or not. But we're going to talk about the game, and you're not going to bully me out of it. So good luck. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. Nothing beats Red Dead Redemption 2 for me. Dude, Red Dead 2 is so good. I just want to play it all day. Every day. Nonstop. Please. That's all I need. I just want to like inhale nothing but Red Dead for the rest of my life. Is that doable? Is there, I'm not big into vaping, but like, is there a vape pen for Red Dead? There should be. There should be. Should we won't get Undead Nightmare 2? Yeah. It would have been, can you imagine like Red Dead 2's production quality, but with that, like, oh man, oh. You can't think about it, otherwise you'll be sad. You can't. Turn your brain off. Oh, it's called cigarettes. Oh, Lenny. Dude, I asked my son Lachlan. I was like, he put on like a little cowboy hat. Okay, I was like, okay, say, Lenny, where are you? And he goes, Lenny. It was very cute. It was very cute. Maybe for Halloween next year we go as a Dutch and Arthur. That could be funny. That could be funny. If you're Marston all the game instead of Chunky Arthur, I don't like him, just prefer John. Dude, one of my close buddies, he played through all of Red Dead, got to the epilogue and stopped. I was like, how dare you? He got to the epilogue and stopped. I get it. It's a huge pacing shift, kind of by design, I would argue. Like, it's designed for you to go through the whole game. You see the end of that story, and then the epilogue hits, and it's literally meant to be like, you just lived an entire life with Arthur that was super exciting, super just wild. And then you go back and you try to make an honest living. And, you know, at the end of Red Dead 2's main campaign, you're used to getting big payouts. You have a bunch of money, you have all this cool stuff. And then it all goes away and you start with nothing and you're making nothing and you're doing pretty boring menial tasks. And it's a cool thing because it's made to make the player feel like John, where John is like, I don't know if I want to do this for my entire life, you know? And I appreciate it artistically for that. But I can also understand why for some people they hit that wall and they're just like, no, this is now boring. And they just get turned off. But I'm telling you, you got to play the epilogue. It's good. See the end of the story, man. Sometimes I have trouble completing games at the last stretch because of that emptiness you feel when you've completed something great and there's nothing left. Yeah, we had somebody else in here the other day that was saying that they had reached the end of Metaphor ReFantazio, but they didn't want to finish it because they didn't want it to be over. And I can feel that. I feel that. I sympathize. Yeah. Okay. Let's do this real quick. Thank you. I gotta say thank you to everybody because this happened while I was rambling about all that. No, 69420. Thank you for the Prime sub. Thank you for that. Master, thank you for the sub with Prime. Xer or Zer, thank you for resubbing for 10 months. That's baller. Kelpie Kane, thank you also for the sub, my friend. Thank you. Thank you for that over on Twitch. And as for the YouTube side of things, let's see. Blake, thank you for the 5. They say it's free. I bet they do exactly what they did with Valhalla and wait a bit after launch to implement and nerf resource. Oh, I did read that one. Yeah, that's probably what they do. Rambling Entertain, thank you for the 5. By Game Rant, Steam Spy said 10 million on PC in 2022. NeoGAF said in Europe, where PlayStation has a larger market, PC was 44%, 40% on PS4, and 16% on Xbox. This is for Elden Ring, just in case people are wondering. Okay. I mean, those are solid numbers. 10 million on PC. If they sold 25 million. I mean, that would still suggest if they sold 10 million in 2022, they're now up to like 25-ish million copies, I think. So that's probably up to like 12, 13, 14 million on PC. You know, that's wild. I am jealous of the people that can play it on PC because I would love to play it with higher resolution and stuff, but it's too stuttery for me. I just can't do it. Just can't. Rambling Entertain, thank you for the 2. Lots of feet jokes can be made on this stream. You're damn right. Sumaya, thank you for that one. I'm really interested. Oh, I did read that one with the parkour and everything. Yeah, we'll find out about it soon enough. MMORPG Al, thank you for the 5. Halfway to my savings goal to take a month off work for GTA 6. Hope life is great for you. Oh, it is, my friend. Thank you. And thank you for the super chat. And yeah, no, life is Life is wonderful. I actually also recently achieved one of my personal financial goals. So that's also very, very good. I'm close, but I'm trying to fully pay off all of my student loans. I'm close. I was able to refinance some of them during like the COVID low rate era. And now I have like one federal one that I left because I wasn't sure if they were going to get like student loan forgiveness through. Turns out they didn't. So I'm just sitting on that. I mean, they did for some people, but I didn't get that. So I have to pay off that one, but I'm close. Holy crap, you're still paying student loans. America's so screwed up. Yeah, I have somebody in my life that has not been in college for probably 30 something years. And at the time that they left college, they had like $20,000 in loans. Today, that balance is in the high 80s. Like $87,000, $88,000. Like 30 years later. Paying minimums and stuff. But like, and student loans, again, then we'll talk about Avowed. Student loans are like actually evil. Because they get like stupid teenagers to sign up for them. And they're one form of debt. I think the one form of debt in the US that does not go away when you die. If I have student loans and I don't pay them, they go to my wife. Then if something happens to my wife, they go to my children. Like, what? That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, and because all the loans are guaranteed by the federal government, because like it was one of those well-intentioned things. They were like, we want to make sure everybody has a chance to go to college. Sounds great. They're like, but loans typically are like the interest rate goes up based on your risk of repaying. If that were totally like free market approved, you would not get a student loan unless you were going to college to be like an engineer or a doctor or something that made a lot of money where you could pay it back. Nobody would get student loans approved for literature degrees, for sociology degrees, or anything like that. But that was seen as discriminatory. So the Fed came in and guaranteed all of the loans and said, we'll basically write the check and back it up and insure it. So you can give loans to anybody for anything, for studying anything, which is how you get these guys. Like one of the teachers I had at high school, he came in to teach a semester because our other teacher was like, I'm not joking, he went to a monastery for like 6 months. He came in and he had, I think, $150,000 in student loan debt, and he had degrees in Romantic Spanish literature and Latin. If you were trying to think of degrees that would never, ever pay themselves off, I don't know if you could come up with something more hilarious than Romantic Spanish literature and a dead language. That is amazing. But like that's the point is, he would never have gotten approved for a student loan for that if it were totally like free market controlled. But because the Fed backs it up, they're willing to write those checks to anybody and everybody. And it doesn't actually help anybody. Like that guy should have been told when he was 18, no, that's stupid. We're not going to give you $150,000 to go study something that's never going to pay off. If you want to pay out of pocket for that, cool. But like, we're not going to loan you the money. Like we're going to set you up to be in debt for the rest of your life. Like, no. How high is interest? I mean, interest can be pretty freaking high. When I was applying for student loans my senior year to finish paying for my last semester of college, they were offering me loans with like 12 to 15% interest rates. I didn't take those, but they were offering them to me. And I guarantee you there were a lot of kids that took them that had no idea what they were talking about. Like, got really screwed. Samaya, don't forget to vote metaphor for game of the year. Oh yeah, I got to do that. Alejandro, thank you for the 5. Did you see the girl who's been paying a $50,000 student loan for 5 years, on-time payments with the occasional high payment, and only gone down 2%? Yeah, it's how amortization tables work. But this is something that like doesn't really make sense off the dome. So people don't understand it, and then they find out how it works, and they're like, what the hell? Same thing like you buy a house. If you buy a house, you're not going to be paying it off for a long time. You know, like that's just, your payment is mostly going to go to interest for the first while. Like this is how most amortization tables work. And then we'll talk about Avowed, I swear to God. But I think this is important to understand. Okay, so if you have any interest at all in eventually getting out of debt, pay attention. When you have a loan, typically how it works, if it's something that's amortized, like a lot of big loans are, or mortgages, things like that, your payment might be 15, 45, 60. Ooh, that's a solid payment. So you might think that you're reducing your balance of $350,000 by $1,500 a month. That's not how that works. What's actually happening is that the interest is the lion's share of your payment. And this amount is only going down $450 a month based on the table. This is why whenever you get one of those big loans, ask for like the table, ask for the table. They have to give it to you. Because if you have like your monthly payment that's like this, interest will initially be like that, and principal will be like this. The longer you pay, the first few payments, tons of it is going towards interest, and very little is actually going to principal. But as time goes by, that'll flip. So as you can see, if you go down further and further, you can see it's increasing. After 21 payments, your principal reduction is actually up to $480 instead of the $450 it started at. But this is why it's so crucial when you get these big loans to understand that. Otherwise, you're just paying interest that goes nowhere. It's why, like, if you're going to get a mortgage, it's easier said than done nowadays, but like really, really push for like, see if you can get a 15-year. Or if you do a 30-year, for the love of God, pay extra. When you sign, like on my mortgage thing, you set up the monthly payment through auto pay or whatever, and say it's like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, whatever it is for your mortgage. And then add an extra monthly payment the day after, or preferably split in two, you know, on the 1st and the 15th. And you do principal only, and you just directly pay off the principal. And every month it does that, and you just get used to it. Because your initial mortgage payments are not going to be doing hardly anything to your principal balance. You got to get that off. And that's how you end up paying for 5 years on a $50,000 student loan, and basically nothing has happened. Yeah. It's also why if you're ever given, like, if a loan officer ever mentions minimum monthly payments, slap them in the face. Slap them in the face. Okay? Don't ever pay the minimum monthly. For the love of God. If you cannot afford to pay more than the minimum, you can't afford it. Okay. Jinx, thank you for the 5. Let's see. Thank you for that. I'm late Gen X, and us and a lot of millennials were basically told you'll be nothing without a degree, so we were desperate. Yeah. Well, and it's the people that were telling you that are the people that like benefited from you just blindly signing the paperwork. And the other thing that is like the greatest, I think, disrespect to this generation is the lack of honesty to students. Like, again, that guy that got given $150,000 to study Romantic Spanish literature and Latin. He is going to be in debt for the rest of his life. Might not ever be able to afford a home or to really like ever break out of where he is in terms of like his class standing. Like he'll never be able to go anywhere in life financially because some evil baboon was willing to take advantage of him like that. They should have told him, no. Maybe he's a streamer now making bank. Yeah, he's a streamer just reading poetry all day. Yeah, there's probably a market for that. Yeah, it's just you can't mess around with this stuff, and it's really, really scummy how much they take advantage of like young people, because they'll hand wave it away and they're like, yeah, well, they're adults, they're technically 18, so they'll be fine. But it's like, yeah, they're 18, but they've never been told this stuff and had it like explained to them. At least in America, our financial education during high school is non-existent. People don't know how to write a check. People don't understand what like an amortization table is. People don't know what APY or APR is. And then they're expected to make good financial decisions that impact the rest of their life with student loans. How does that make any sense? Yeah, or how to do taxes. Yeah. You just like at the school I went to, it was honestly kind of cool because our assistant principal, what was his name? Carpine, Mr. Carpine. He at one time worked as a salesman at a car dealership. And so he came in and he like gave us the full breakdown on how to buy a car, how to negotiate with car dealerships. And then he taught like the financial literacy thing in high school to explain to us how all of this worked. And it was super, super cool. It was super cool to have somebody like that was willing to just for a semester go through all of that stuff. Carpine working at a dealership. Yeah, shock. I never thought of that like that until just now. Yeah, he was a cool guy. He was a pretty cool guy. I think he's still in that job. I think he's still doing that. GJ Summer Funky, thank you for that. Nissan, thank you for the 5. Politicians can't run on problems that have been solved. Never a solution, only band-aid to appease voters. Yeah. No, it's like I can't even think of how many politicians have run on like, we're going to deal with the student loan issue. And then they get in the office. They're like, oh, I knew I was forgetting something as they're leaving office. Oh, man. Luke, FYI, Games Workshop just revealed the new Krieg models. They look pretty good. Give me more financial advice so I can afford them. Rip my wallet. Oh, really? Hey, babe. My wife is here. My famous wife from that Dragon Age video. She's here. She's here. The celebrity. She's joined us. How are you?
Okay. Yeah,
Good.
Got you carpet clean last night.
Yeah.
I cat peed on it.
One of our cats is having
pee problems.
Well, but it's like I took them to the vet because they were doing it months ago too. And like it's literally just how they make a point. So like if Finley is upset that we got the pate wet food instead of the like shredded stuff, he'll pee on this one spot on the carpet. And it's like, damn it. Because there's nothing you can do about it. Like other than lay down aluminum foil apparently is a good solution to it. But yeah, my cat is literally pissed. Yeah, literally. Drives me crazy. But we're having all the flooring replaced. And so I've been carpet cleaning it like mad.
Here's the thing. Even if the flooring gets replaced, he's still going to pee.
Well, if it's hard, like the whatever watertight, liquid tight, linoleum or whatever it's called, that stuff apparently can help. But because he's never peed on like any of the hardwood or.
But you looked it up the other day. We were surprised to hear that some cats like pee on kitchen counters.
Yeah, I was looking
like
up.
In pots.
I was Googling like cat pees on stair landing, but the top search was cat peed on my kitchen counter. And I was like, what?
I would burn the house down. I would become an arsonist.
Yeah. Did it work though? It seems he got his point across. He did. Yeah. Yeah. Don't tell me that. Yeah, I know. It drives me crazy, dude. But it's like, I love these cats so much. They're such good fellas. And, you know, Finley's a good fella. Miney's a good girl. But
I've had Finley for forever.
yeah, Finley's...
Since we were together for a year.
Finley's a
Our
little
first year
over...
of dating.
Yeah, he's a little over 7. He was 7 in...
September? No, it'd be this summer. He was like
yeah,
2
like
months older than
July,
me.
I think.
Yeah.
It's right after Hurricane Harvey.
Yep.
But there's that, and keeps peeing on everything.
I have to curl my hair.
Yeah, you got a show tonight.
Yeah.
She's a performer.
I'm famous
Mm-hmm.
to like 20 people in Colorado, so you could say I'm well known.
Yeah, yeah. Sell the kids and the cat gods will be appeased. Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Whoa.
Finley's like, I'm the baby now.
I did stop at Starbucks on my way home,
Shocker.
and the guy's like, "What are you gonna do today?" And I was like, "We have babysitters today. It's like my one day where I get to do whatever I want. I'm gonna get an oil change." He goes, "You know what I would do? I get super high." I'm like, "Sir, you're at work."
That's the most Coloradoan thing I've ever heard.
He's just standing in the drive and he's like, "I get super high and wasted." He goes, you got wine? Go take a hot shower, get super blitzed." And I was like, "I have to pick them up in like 3 hours, but thank you." Yeah.
Yeah, living his best life.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to get you canceled with that.
No, that's good. I
My
mean,
bad.
you weren't saying that's what you're gonna do, unless
Oh,
that's the
maybe I
coded message. Nikki's, I'm gonna hear the shower start here in a minute. The clanging of wine bottles. That's funny. Let's see. Rambling. Thank you for that one. Did you see some game bloggers from VGC comparing Avowed to Skyrim after the devs been saying for months that it's not Skyrim? I mean, to be fair, I've heard like a lot of people compare it to Skyrim. Like we can look at this. We can look at this preview. I know you guys are saying Maddie did one. My general approach is that videos from like individual creators, I don't like reacting to unless a few days have passed, because I don't really want to affect the performance of their video. With IGN, like they have 18 million subscribers. I don't think I'm going to make that big of an impact on their stuff, but I don't want to affect Maddie's stuff or cause his videos not to perform well. But maybe we check that out at a later point. But let's do this. Let's do it. Megalodon Jaws, thank you also for subbing with Prime over on Twitch. Thank you, my friend. Oh, 3 months. Love to see it. Let's see. You're a very handsome woman, Luke. Thank you. Thank you. That's a handsome woman. My grandpa would say that. I forget. Oh, you know what it was? It was that song. Oh crap. What was that song? Oh, it's gonna kill me. It's like an oldie folksy song from like the 60s or 70s. I think she was a one-hit wonder. I cannot remember what it was called. There was an old musician from the 60s or 70s. She was from like Sweden or something. Very, very niche. But one time it came up on the radio and my grandpa was in the car because we were driving to like the zoo or something, and he got really quiet and he was like, "I love this song. The lady who sings it, blah, blah, blah. She is one beautiful, handsome woman." I was like, I never heard anybody called a handsome woman, but like with an O, woman, before. But my grandpa was like having flashbacks. It's pretty funny. Not ABBA, no. I'll look on Spotify. I'll see if I can find it. But yeah, it was something like that. Woman. Okay. Yeah, I cannot for the life of me remember what it was. But it was though. Oh, wait. I think I just had like an unironic flashback when I was like, those. He was. I said to myself, that he was like thinking back. Okay, not a Swedish nobody. This is a deep cut. You might know it. But I was like, oh, he was having flashbacks thinking those were the days. And it was. She's British. She's not Swedish. She just looks Swedish. This though. I can only play a sliver.
Think of all the great things we would do. Those were the days, my friend. We thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day.
And he was like, that is a handsome woman. You know, that's a handsome woman. Grandpa coming out here. Coming at her swinging. Anyway, she is handsome though. Yeah, it's a handsome woman. I gotta say, that's a handsome woman. Yeah. Is that gonna be the new thing? You know what? Okay, this is our new ploy, everybody. Okay, next time we're watching anything related to Monster Hunter, and you know the blacksmith, the Uppies character. Next time we see her, I need everybody to like start flooding chat with "that is a handsome woman," okay, and just watch people get thoroughly confused in the chat afterwards. Okay, the other people that were not here at this moment will be like, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about?" But for us, it's gonna be so freaking funny. Okay. I might be able to do like a little practice. Should we do a little practice? Here.
Hi.
That's a handsome woman.
As soon as we find a good spot, we can get things set up and ready to go. And then we can get started. This is gonna
Sure is. That's a handsome woman. It's like, tell me exactly what's wrong with that. Anybody who's like, that's problematic. I'm like, what? It's a compliment. That's a handsome woman. See? Thank you guys. Yeah. Yeah, see? There we go. I love having these little inside jokes with all of you, because then inevitably there's people in chat that missed it and are so confused when it actually happens. Like, you guys know that people will ask about the skull behind me. And we always just say, oh yeah, that's grandma. She always wanted to be close, so she just stays on the shelf. Anyway, thank you, Anthony, for the super chat. And we just blow right past it. It's our little thing that we do. This is now a new thing that we're doing, okay? We're doing it. Anthony McMuffin, by the way, thank you, actually, for the 10. Hey, do you ever play games with your wife or just let her win? I usually don't have to just let her win. She actually is quite good at games. We don't really play a lot of like PvP stuff where we are like fighting together. We'll play through games like, Overwatch, we'll be on the same team, or we'll play like a Fortnite or Injustice 2 or something and hand off the, we'll do that stuff, but we don't typically do a lot of PvP stuff. Click shooters. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we don't play a lot of click shooters together. Oh, that's another one we got to make official. Oh, that was so funny. Okay, you ready? Do you collect Paint Any Games Workshop Specialist games? I personally love kit bashing models for Necromons. I don't really collect any specialist stuff. I'm pretty much just straight Warhammer, and then I also have a lot of stuff I have 3D printed for D&D that also keeps me pretty busy. You want to know what my psychopath friend Caleb, you guys know Caleb, what he told me? He told me that he's just going to casually repaint like 60 models of his. He has like 60 models of, I think, Black Templar, and he's just going to redo them. He's going to like do whatever, paint thinner or whatever, and clean them off and repaint them. It's like, do you hate yourself? Why would you do that? Why? Like, done more, so I don't understand, man. You worked so hard to paint them, or they're painted. They're good enough. I don't care enough to like repaint them and be like, the color scheme is slightly off. I don't care.
Vinayak Swaroop is now a member.
Vinayak, thank you. Paint sniffer. Oh, maybe that's it. He just likes the smell of the paint thinner. Maybe that's what it is. He's not actually painting. He's just, oh, feeling good. Feeling good. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about Avowed finally. Sorry, everybody, for the massive diatribe. Potete 606, thank you, by the way, for the sub. Potete. Those were the days, my friends. DJ Summer Funky, thank you for that. You think Bethesda and Machine Games are actually going to make new Wolfenstein? I've seen rumors of one next year, but I don't know. I get the feeling that the second this Indiana Jones game comes out, they are going to pivot off of something that is tried and true for them, like a Wolfenstein, because I've noticed a pattern where when studios work with Disney on something, the second that they can get away and stop working with Disney, they do that. So I think that they're going to probably do something like that. I think that they cannot wait to get away because it is a headache to do anything creatively with Disney. Like they have so many bizarre requirements, and yeah, I think it just sucks the joy out of everything. Shout out Wet Dump Berto, the bum dump. Well put, Gary Oak. Thank you for the 2. I'm not sure what that means, but okay. really not sure. Okay, let's continue. Let's do it. Why did Disney have to shut down LucasArts, man? Because Bob Iger doesn't actually know what he's doing. He just merges companies. And that worked for about 10 years. And then he realized he had to actually have like a creative vision and had no idea what he was doing from there, which is why Disney keeps tanking. And then Chris, my friend, started Warhammer in 2020 during COVID with me. He now has every armor and plays on Wales international team. His pile of shame is unreal. Dude, I believe it. Once, especially if you're at the point where you're playing in tournaments a lot and you're like, I just need to have everything. It's like, bro, chill. Okay, let's talk about this. New segment. Now, my friends, we thought it never come because Luke kept rambling about stupid stuff. I have made my thoughts on Avowed as clear as I can, but I've never played the game. I've not tried it. I've not gone to any previews or anything. I have no insider information on this game. But my stance has been from the outset that I loved the initial trailer that got me really excited for the game that I've shown you guys a bajillion times. Because it looked really, really good. And I wanted that. Like, that's what I was hopeful for. It was super dark, gritty from Obsidian. Like, this vibe, I was all here for. Big storm clouds, super dark, spoopy, dare I say. I'm in for this. This is what got me really, really excited. Then we saw this footage of like a huge monster in a cave. I was like, I'm here for it. Turns out the actual game is basically nothing like that and is like super artsy, fartsy, colorful, and like weirdly kelpy and crustacean themed. It's really, really very different. And so stylistically, I feel like I've experienced stylistic whiplash or artistic whiplash where it's just like, are these the same thing? Like I'm frothing at the mouth. So now that we're kind of over that and I'm just like, okay, well, forget the original trailer. Let's try to appreciate it for what it is. even though they made this big shift. Now I'm just looking at the trailers. I'm looking at everything. And it seems like this is going to be Outer Worlds with a fantasy spin on it that's a little bit bigger, a little bit more ambitious than that. But the common thread seems to be that people who have tried it say that it recaptures the same feeling as old school BGS titles. Namely, and I think it's in this clip from Destin that we're about to watch, namely that there was, or maybe it was the Insider Gaming guys with Lawrence and those guys. Either way, it's been said, one of these guys that was at the preview said, it has that feeling of one of these games that is too ambitious for its own good, but it's almost like endearing that they were trying to push so hard to go as intense as they could, or as nuanced as they could with the story, or as complex with consequence as they could. Even though they probably couldn't pull that off, they still swung for the fences. And it's that level of ambition that I think was what allowed people to overlook some of the shortcomings in old school BGS games and old school Obsidian games too. And it feels like we're in a similar spot with this. So even though it may not graphically be the most impressive game, or in terms of the level design or scope, it may not be the most impressive game ever, but with everything else they're doing, it almost makes you hand wave that away, or like accept it for what it is and not hold it to too high a standard, you know? But this is a preview from IGN. Destin, friend of the channel, did this one. And so we're going to check it out. I know other creators also covered it. Maddie played it. Force played it as well. I don't typically like looking at videos from individual creators within like a day to 3 days. Like I don't want to affect the performance of their videos. IGN has 18 million subscribers, so I feel like I'm not going to have that much of an impact on how their video does. But that's why we're watching this one instead of those. I don't want people to think like I magically hold IGN to this crazy higher standard or anything. Okay, so here we go. Let's see what Destin says.
Even after the positive preview for Avowed this summer, I found myself wondering if it was a fluke. Maybe it was just a fun mission. Maybe Obsidian won't be able to keep my interest as more quests are discovered. Maybe it was just a nice day. Nope! Avowed is just a lot of fun. Coming fresh off of trying out Dragon Age the Veilguard, I was so happy when I discovered just how evil I could be to people I met along the way right from the start of Avowed. Something Veilguard just didn't fulfill.
This unironically could be one of the great, like, contrasts to enhance the value of Avowed. Like, I really think that part of the reason Fallout 4 was looked down on a lot when it came out was because it came after The Witcher 3, and that made it feel all the more lackluster as an RPG. It was good at other stuff. It just wasn't good at being an RPG. And The Witcher 3, in terms of writing, in terms of the seriousness, in terms of production value, everything else, it kind of outperformed it. So by contrast, it looked pretty lackluster. In the same way that Baldur's Gate 3 is kind of making every other RPG that comes out nowadays. Most notably, it came out, and then Starfield came out like a month or two, like a month later. That really made it feel like a lackluster RPG, because we just got one of the best RPGs of all time in comparison. And with this, we got Dragon Age Veilguard, a new game in a historied franchise of RPGs that really didn't let you pick a role and play it. It really was not that much of a role play. Or was it Phantom Liberty? I guess it was both, technically. But now with this, there is a real potential where people will play Avowed and will compare it to Dragon Age, and that will make this stand out even more. Like, I know I'm going to be trying Avowed when I have time between Kingdom Come and Monster Hunter and everything else that's happening in February, but I know, like, my wife is super excited to jump into Avowed because it's a fantasy role-playing game that actually seems to have role-playing. Shocker, you know? Who would have thunk it?
I'm ready. Do it.
From the start, I had one NPC dropping F-bombs because I was going to leave her in prison. A short while later, a duo would try to intimidate me on a bridge only to meet a swift demise. I wasn't in the mood for their nonsense, I just wanted to be evil, and while I could have handled it the nice way, sometimes being evil is just more fun.
Another win, but who's counting?
Just leaving that last little slap in there just for good measure. That's funny.
It's not just the fact that you have more nuance with every conversation, it's empowering to craft the kind of hero or villain you want to be. Sure,
Imagine
Obsidian
that.
has a story to tell, but I feel
Jesus Christ almighty. You gotta give me a jump scare warning before you put that on screen, dude. Wow. That's... What the hell is even that? What in the... I don't even know, man. Wow. Now that's... Yeah, you're right. Now that's a handsome woman right there. That right there, say it with me, is a handsome woman. Wow. I can't stop staring. I gotta like block it with my hand. It's so refreshing to finally be talking about an RPG that lets you be evil and do bad things. And some people are like, well, but I don't want to be evil. I don't want to do that. I typically play in a good way. I don't think that's necessarily the point. The point is, like, RPGs, one of the strengths of them is that you can pick your role and you can play the way you want. And even though you may not always choose the bad path or the bad option, it being an option at all is important. It's kind of like, here, I'll block it while we talk about this. Or actually, so it's just judging you. If you imagine like this is the midline path, okay? The right side is the good actions, being a good person, right? This is the side you go to if you want to be a good person. And this is the evil dialogue option. And then you have middle of the road ones. You may play through this game typically picking the right options, right? You may be going through and your reputation kind of carries like this. But the point is there should be some variance because there may be times when you're like, I just really hate this crazy creature. And so you swing and you do something really evil. But then you can swing back over here and make the good choices most of the time. And then you take a few bad actions and you go back here. But in general, you're floating on the right side. But having evil options allows you to make these exceptional choices where you do something really, really different. It's the same thing like one of my party members, I was talking to them because I'm running a D&D campaign for them, and we were talking about the potential next campaign, and they were brainstorming some ideas for characters. And one of them was like, I mean, I don't know if they were aware of it, but it's basically Dexter. Like they wanted to play as like an evil serial killer kind of person that keeps it hidden, but just mentally justifies the killing by only killing people that really deserve it. Like murderers, they have a soft spot for like children. If somebody harms a child, then they're going to go after them with everything they have, things like that. But that would be a case where maybe your character is playing typically like this, but then occasionally has moments where they do something really good, but then they spike back over here and are doing things really bad, and then really good, and then they play most of the time over here. But having the ability to make those specific, maybe less common choices, that is very, very important in a role-playing game, because it allows you to have that nuance. If you only have the far side of that, if you only have the green, which is kind of Dragon Age in general, like Dragon Age, specifically Veilguard, Dragon Age Veilguard in general, it's pretty much all right here. There's no like, oh no, you can tell the mayor to stay behind, but even then, like, he killed an entire village of people. That's probably just like a just choice in general, just not merciful. But all of the choices float in here, and as a result, it feels like you can't really, like, you have no say in the story, because you really don't. They have nothing over here. You're not allowed to go over here and do anything bad or make any wrong, like, evil choices, in which case you're not really making choices at the end of the day. But let's continue and try to get to a different screen than this.
feel more in control when deciding how these scenarios play out. The character customization options will allow you to craft the face of the character you'll build, and while you don't see it all that often, you can make someone perfectly lovely, or someone that looks like they came straight out of that creepy claymation episode of Adventures of Mark Twain.
Try to survive. Same thing I do every day.
Even the vendors have unique banter. I had the chance to meet the ex-husband of another nearby vendor, and the two would talk badly about each other because of their failed marriage. Another vendor had a past relationship with my companion Kai and warned him not to cross her again. These little beats do a lot to make the world feel like it has a history, and you'll uncover more of that as you adventure. I love these dangling threads that are teased throughout the playthrough. Hopefully, I get to tug on some of them and see how deep each story goes.
Like, seriously, I'm telling you, they just need to hire like DMs for D&D campaigns, and they'll handle all of this. Like, there's so many instances where you're like, why can we not just have stories with characters that intertwine, that are not like weirdly self-congratulatory or self-indulgent? Like, why can't we just do that? Man, aren't you just describing how Mass Effect 1 and 3 used to work? Do you mean with the ability to make occasional bad evil choices? Maybe. I'm not sure what you're saying. But I mean, basically it's like, the point is, if you're going to have a role-playing game, you gotta have variation within moral choices, within all of this stuff. Like, you really, really have to have that. Yes? Okay. Yeah, it's... If you don't have that contrast, there's just no role playing. Like, that's not what we're doing. And if you want to have a linear story, okay, but don't call it a role playing game, for the love of God. Like, let's not delude ourselves.
I told you not to show your face around here again.
On the combat front, I also immediately noticed improvements, especially in the sound department. Obsidian clearly spent a lot of time working on the audio and combat flow, and it's immediately noticeable. The sound spikes are so satisfying to hear when you've stunned an opponent and can execute a flurry of blows or bullets, or when using stealth and you're able to execute your prey with an ethereal blade. And what addition...
Ethereal? Isn't it ethereal? Or am I mispronouncing it? Ethereal? I've never heard somebody call it ethereal.
We got to see for the first time was the ability to use third-person or first-person combat. Both feel great, and while I personally opted for the first-person perspective most of the time, third-person is looking and feeling good too. The only slight gripe I have is that the movement can have a bit of that floaty Obsidian style to it in third-person, but that doesn't affect combat all that much.
Who's there? Watch out!
And while I'm discussing my...
It definitely feels like, especially looking at those animations running, it feels like the third person thing was probably a late addition.
The time, third person is looking and feeling good too.
See, like, the feet don't really track. Watch as she runs and turns. The feet don't stick or plant on the ground. They just kind of glide. See, it's like sliding on the rock. Like, look at that right foot. That's not how walking works, but it's okay. I mean, with most of this, it's like, again, the expectations really decide how this type of thing is tolerated. When a studio is coming out with like AAA budgets, AAA pricing, when they're coming out just putting forward that this is going to be a AAA experience, players expect that level of polish. Players expect the animation quality that we've seen in like, you know, something even going back years, like AC Odyssey, for example, has really solid animation quality during like cutscenes. Or with movement, players expect the foot to plant and stay there, you know. Obsidian's in this weird spot where, technically speaking, they are a AAA studio, but players typically expect AA quality and like jank from them, you know? It's typically how it works. Is it $70? I'm not sure off the dome. I mean, because again, I think most people are going to be playing it through Game Pass. Avowed. Yeah, it's 70. 70 for the standard. So that's, I mean, that's one thing where you like, for $70, you kind of expect that third person quality, animation quality to be better. But that's the thing, is like when you think of Obsidian, you don't really hold them to that same standard. But to be fair, like also if the writing is good enough, you can overlook a lot of that jank at the same time. Like games are not really, when you're evaluating a game, you're not really evaluating it based on a pass fail where like, oh, you failed the third person animation quality checkbox, therefore your game is a fail and you don't, I'm not going to recommend you buy it. Like if this is enough, that little slidey animation quality, if that's enough for you to not buy a $70 game, if everything else is good, that's honestly sad. Like that's sad. And I don't think any of you guys are like that because people don't typically think that way. People evaluate the package. I'm sorry I made that motion. The package. They evaluate the package as a whole. If you have amazing writing, if you have amazing role play and stuff, if the combat's a little janky, if animation during running around is a little janky, who cares? Like it's not that big of a deal. Of course, I'd prefer it if it were amazing, world class, whatever. Sure, but it's not a deal breaker. You can notice it, but I think we have to pair that with it's not a big deal if the rest of the game is good. You know, that's the key. I'm impressed by the movement, not the animation. It's very vertical. Yeah, I mean, you can even see up here. I think they're going to talk about that where there's a lot of stuff where you're expected to climb and kind of vault up and down stuff. It seems like level design, they've really put a lot of work in.
Third person, but that doesn't affect combat all that much.
Who's there?
Watch out!
And while I'm discussing minor complaints, knowing full well that Obsidian still has months of polish time left, I did feel that your companion Kai was a bit too handholdy with his tips at times. There were a few moments when I was simply scavenging for loot and found him whispering tips about a puzzle in my ear.
I think there's something on the upper floor. We might be able to reach it from outside.
Dude. I don't know what it is with every game nowadays having this problem where like they assume every player is brain dead. But like whether you look at God of War Ragnarok or Veilguard had this problem too. Avowed seems to have it in the previews. It's like developers just assume that everybody's stupid and needs to be explained to. And it's kind of insulting at this point. I understand maybe there are gamers that need that, but man, toggle hints. I do agree that that's an easy fix. Yeah. But that assumes that they built it in a way where you can toggle it. So for example, like they would have to have a tag in the code of it saying that that line of dialogue that just played and triggered at this point has this other tag and identifier on it, and we have to have a toggle that checks whether the toggle is turned on before it plays that dialogue at any given moment. And so that might be an easy fix if they did that and they coded it kind of in a forward-thinking way. If they didn't, it might be a more involved process to go back through and add the tags like to every piece of dialogue. But that is the easiest fix. Just add a freaking toggle. And what's funny is I actually have in this a look at this. I have a video in my OneNote that specifically mentions a certain gamer. And I wanted to do this as a segment at some point because we've kind of half done it occasionally. I don't think we've done like a full standalone one. But the point of this was to show like how these guys making God of War, they were tweaking levels to be more quote unquote accessible based on gameplay footage from this guy, a streamer by the name of DSP. And they show clips of DSP playing the game.
Arrows mean interesting themes and that there's a lot of different variety and a lot of different gameplay, right? So we've made a convincing promise to the player. So watch it one more time, and I want you to watch just what the camera behavior does.
The taste of Vanir magic led him to new forms of experimentation.
We're back.
New levels of depravity.
Look where we are. We're back.
They're analyzing him like a monkey in an experiment. It's quite funny. But they do that. And I was like, they're catering level design to people like him. And this is the same guy from this clip that went viral, who I don't think most people are like this.
You're kidding me! Riding full speed, the lightning hones in on you and it hits you? You see, this isn't fun. I'm sorry. Randomly, a glue monster appears, takes all of your health. Oh, you don't have enough stamina to climb something standard at the beginning of the game. Oh, lightning just hones in on you and kills you. How is this a fun? It's bullshit.
Bruh, just imagine lightning is faster than your horse can trot. Bad game design. Get your act together, everybody. Come on, Nintendo. What are we doing? What are we doing? But that's the problem. It's like, if you're going to cater games to people that have problem-solving skills like that, we all suffer as a result, because then we're going through levels like this, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to get to that in just a second. I'm just breaking open crates down here. Ah, there's something up there. We should go outside to get it. Go outside, climb the ladder, open the door. You might need to pick it. And then you go in here and you like, shut up. Just add the toggle. That's the easy fix. Add the toggle. Was it God of War Ragnarok that added the toggle, or was that a different game? I don't remember which one it was. But like, that's the easiest fix, is to just add a toggle and at the very least stop catering games. Games like Elden Ring are proof that gamers are capable of solving abstract problems. If they don't solve it by themselves, people are smart. They'll look it up on Reddit or a YouTube guide or whatever if they really can't figure it out. I don't understand why we have to hold everybody's hand all the time. Like, I don't get it. Man. Who's this guy? Why are people building levels based on this guy's playstyle or whatever? That's a great question. It still boggles my mind that there are level designers at Santa Monica Studio that are looking at DSP videos of all people to like inform their design choices. It's remarkable.
Sure.
I think there's something on the upper floor. We might be able to reach it from outside.
Like, we don't need idiot-proof dialogue. Just don't.
I know Obsidian is trying to help out new players, but it takes away from that feeling of accomplishment you get when solving the mystery for yourself. Kyle.
Again, new players are smart too, though. Like, gamers are smart. They're all about problem solving. That's why, like, what was it? I heard somebody talking about it where, like, there was a study done where surgeons were evaluated based on whether they also played video games or not. And like, the surgical students that played video games actively, regularly in their day-to-day lives, they performed far better in their exams. They performed way better in actual mock surgeries and stuff. It actually helps with problem solving, abstract thinking. Like, gamers are smart. And part of the reason gamers are smart are because games challenge people to think that way. So don't dumb them down, okay? Like, and I also, again, it's a little insulting because I'm like, I have people in my life that are not particularly great at games, but to think that they couldn't figure out how to go and find an upper level on a building is like pretty insulting. It's just stupid. Anyway.
I know how to solve the puzzle, okay? Like, give me a second.
You got everything you need to fix up your armor. Let's head to camp.
But to get back to the positives, loot was also a highlight, even early on. Upgrading from a bow and arrow to an arquebus felt awesome. And even though I probably said arquebus wrong, the trade-off with the rifle is that it has a long reload time, but once you've upgraded your abilities with it, you'll unlock faster reloads and more damage. And the ragdoll physics add to the fun factor as well.
I will say, they've done a lot of work. My headphones are dying. They've done a lot of work on the combat. I remember the first gameplay trailer they had, and it was like, ooh, not quite there, but they've done a lot of work on it. This looks significantly improved. Props to them for listening to like player feedback and feedback from the community and then working to fix it and make it better, because this does look way better than it did before. This is impressive. I think they did a good job.
Yet again, though, my time with Avowed felt all too short. And make no mistake, there was plenty to explore in this small area. I found a spider cave where I took on a spider boss. I found the entire hour-long demo that we had the first time we played Avowed, and a plethora of small stories within the world, like this one guy who happened to be missing a ring and trying to find it. And I left wishing that Obsidian had given us more time to play, but that's a good sign. And so far, everything seems to be coming together in what I can best describe as a really fun RPG. But more importantly, it feels like an RPG where I'm in control of my own destiny, and while the decisions I'm making will have consequences, I love knowing that I get to be the one to—
Jesus Christ, man. You gotta warn me. Who said that this looked like the chick from Fallout? How dare you? I mean, now that you've said it, I can't unsee it. But like, how dare you? First of all, how dare you? I just can't, man.
directing the orchestra, so to speak.
We'd be most appreciative, of course.
In both of my hands-on sessions with Avowed, I've only been able to see the Dawnshore section of the map and not much more.
Look at that. Okay. It's pretty big. Pretty sizable, pretty girthy. That, I mean, Outer Worlds was weird because it was Fallout in space, but with really limited levels, and like it was, you could tell it was a game that would have been a lot better with a much bigger budget, much bigger team. But it also probably would not have had the same charm if it were a lot bigger. But this seems to be a game that really works well with that formula, and I am excited to give it a shot. I mean, honestly, these previews make me like, I think this is higher on my priority list than I initially thought. It's just tricky because like this game comes out right in the same like 7-day period as Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Civ 7, which that's a lower priority. I think for most people that's not as pressing. AC Shadows, this Monster Hunter Wilds comes out like a week later. There's a lot of big stuff that's going to land right around this point. And it's frustrating because I'm like, I think it looks good, but Kingdom Come, man, but KCD 2, man. And I don't think anybody can really blame an RPG fan for being torn at this point, you know?
I do hope there's plenty of content here, but I'd really like to see more given how close the February release date is now. When I asked Obsidian about this, they promised several biomes would be explorable, and that will no doubt add a lot to the visual diversity of the world. I just wish we could get a peek at it beyond the footage from the very first gameplay reveal from many months ago. No spoilers on the story here, but the one narrative hook that is set up early on is a mission which takes you to the Voice. This Voice leads you through the map and is clearly an entity you'll hear from again during your adventures. When given the chance to help it or refuse to make a deal, I decided against siding with a blue light, as I've learned nothing good ever comes from a deal with an all-powerful entity. But I will be curious to see how that plays out in the end. The Voice did not seem happy.
Who poisons us? We cannot see you.
And that's really the best you can hope for from previews of an RPG like this. You get just enough to leave you wanting more, and Avowed certainly accomplishes just that. I want to power up my companion Kai to see what other attacks he can do. I want to discover the coveted weapons the design team told us about during the pre-hands-on presentation. I want to kill more people and betray my friends, and Avowed is empowering me to do exactly that. Maybe I'll let the Virgin live this time.
It's all right. I'm sure someone else will give me a hand.
Avowed is set for a February 18th release date, and I can't wait to find out just how evil I can be. I'll leave you with this gameplay of how our demo ended. For more on Avowed or all things gaming, you're already in the right place. IGN.
Uh-oh. Just kidding, that's the end of the game. Yeah, I mean, it looks good. It looks good. I'm much more confident in this than what they showed. When was the last one? Maybe like 2-3 months ago. Like way better, way better. So they're making a lot of progress. They're making improvements. I'm very happy to see it. But again, like if anything, it makes me more frustrated that it's coming out when it is, because it's sandwiched between a lot of other huge games. And that doesn't mean that this is bad or this is a failure or anything. It just means that like it's just coming out at a bad time. You know, and unfortunately that means that I'm going to have to wait to play it till like, you know, March or April, but that's just how it is. Fish, thank you for the membership. Thank you, my friend. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think this takes priority for you? Let me do a poll. Let's do a poll. Straw poll. I'm going to do a poll across our chats. I want to know if you, let's say, will you be playing, not playing, paying is interesting because this is, of course, a Game Pass title. Let's specifically say Avowed over KCD 2 / AC Shadows / honestly, you might be able to finish this before Monster Hunter. So that, I mean, I won't include that one. Yes. No. This is at launch. Okay. This is when it comes out specifically. Okay. Is it Xbox exclusive? It's on PC, but not a fair comparison. I mean, I don't think it has to be. The point is just, are you going to be playing this over those? If this came out 2 weeks before, I'd be playing this on launch 1000%. R. Duffy, thank you for that one. Thank you for the sub, my friend. For me, if I'm not finished with Kingdom Come or AC, I mean, I think I've got to finish those first. So for me, probably not, even though I think it looks good. Let's see what the results are looking like. Oh, okay. That's better than I thought it would be. Oh yeah, Yakuza's the other one. Just assume that I wrote Yakuza in there if you're going to play that instead. KCD first, but I'm interested in Avowed. I think I'm in the same way. Like I want to play it. I want to play it. But if the choice is between this and like KCD 2, I think I'm probably going KCD 2 first. But I mean, these are good stats. This is better than I was expecting. So I mean, props to the team. Look very nice. Yeah, look very nice. You're very bored. Well, we're wrapping this up. And then we can go get lunch or whatever. Look very beautiful. Nikki came in and she's just like, I'm so bored. I'm bored. I'm bored. Classic Nikki. Classic Nikki. Lunch is good. Yes. I don't know. Think about what you want. What you're feeling.
I have to clean and fold laundry.
Ugh. That's not as much fun as lunch.
I agree, but you're the one that wants nice things and you're fronting it, but there's things that have to happen in order to do the nice things.
It's true. But lunch though. I ate a salmon burrito. A salmon burrito.
Sounds Polish. I'm just kidding.
Polish? I don't
know. I just thought fish.
I don't think salmon is a Polish fish. I don't think that
it's
salmon's
not.
over there.
I don't think so.
It's just something about salmon burrito sounds off. If you told me fish taco, I'm in it. But salmon burrito. What? Classic Polish burrito. Yeah. It was really, really good. Okay, well, maybe I need to try it. I might be missing out. I might be missing out on stuff. Who'd have thunk it?
Oh, it's like, I don't know why it makes me think of like sushi burritos or like the Universal Restaurant cowfish with the burgushi.
Burgushi.
Burgushi. I don't want it, but just the name makes it sound great. Burgers and sushi all in one.
Sushi pizza. Okay. And you're banned. No, I'm kidding. Nikki, can you do that to Luke's hair for the next stream?
Nah. It's a crimper. Oh, that didn't look good. I'm gonna put my hand away.
Yeah, you gotta save your hand for those click shooters.
I'm trying to find another game that I can obsess over because
Well, we were just talking about Avowed, which is the upcoming RPG from Obsidian that looks
interesting. Is it an actual RPG though? Because that's been the issue recently.
Yeah, no, it's an actual RPG.
What game did I try the other night?
Greedfall.
I tried Greedfall.
Greedfall is clunky.
I lasted about 5 minutes, and I was like, I'm bored, which is probably not great for my attention span. I did not challenge myself there.
Yeah. Meh. It's if a game's not grabbing you, it's not grabbing you.
Do you need a code word for if I'm being annoying? I have nothing to do.
If I'm just like avocado, avocado.
Okay, I gotta go.
Just like, sorry, I don't think they noticed.
It was so sneaky.
Stalker 2 just came out. I'm in that deep. Well, dude, Stalker 2, yeah, that's one you gotta. A very particular type of person plays Stalker 2. Very particular type of person. You have to have the right temperament. If you're easily frustrated, it's gonna make you angry. But anyway, anywho, what are you feeling for lunch then, babe?
We've been getting burritos a lot.
Oh yeah, Illegal Pete's, classic.
Some Colorado style Illegal Pete's.
Yeah, baby. It's very good. I'm trying to think.
Tuna melt. Person of my own heart. Love a tuna melt. So good.
The only other stuff I've got to go through is stuff that we can kind of go through at any time. So I might save it for Monday and just go do some lunchy lunch.
Luke, do you get hangry?
I think so. Yeah. I think like most people.
Stonewaller when he's hangry. You like love bomb him and you're like, tell me how you feel. Give me love. He's like, okay.
Okay.
Like, well, tell me something nice. You look nice. That's when you know you gotta feed him. That's
Gots to get me to food.
You got to put some sugar cookies in the pantry. And,
Dude, those sugar cookies though.
Luke is obsessed.
Let me see. Oh yeah, these. These that are just, they're enough to make RFK Jr. want to punch you. These kind of cookies, I cannot control myself. You see them at the supermarket, you know? If I see these, if these are in the house, I will like dig through cabinets to find them like a crack addict.
I've hidden them in a couple new places and he tends to find them.
Yeah. And they are not very good. They're, dare I say, bad.
They're not great.
But they go down so smooth and it's addicting.
Sweets though, like you like chewy Chips Ahoy.
Mm-hmm.
And those to me, like these and those to me taste like eating like slightly hard Play-Doh.
Oh yeah, those chewy
like,
Chips
the
Ahoy.
texture is just like, like kinetic sand. It's like you're eating kinetic sand formed into a cookie flavored with sugar.
Yeah.
It's not my fave.
I don't know. I love it.
You're obsessed.
I cannot stop myself. I don't know why I love them so much. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, there's so many better things for me to want to eat right now, but I can't stop.
I'm that way with like Rice Krispie treats. Oh, I could mess with Rice Krispie treats.
Looks like they would go down well with a large coffee. Dude, when Jacob and I were in LA, at one point we got Dunkin' Donuts. And we got like a big coffee. And we each got like a big ass donut. We're walking down the streets of LA carrying a donut and a coffee, and I felt like such a city slicker, you know? I was like, oh, look at me. I'm so sophisticated. Love to be a thick boy. Yeah, I got to get the dad bod going, don't you know? It's winter.
Yeah, you're behind.
Yeah.
2 kids.
Yeah.
Extra love.
Luke, has your wife played Baldur's Gate 3? I see so many couples playing it together. Yeah, she's played a lot of
We
it.
haven't played it together though.
Well, we started like 3 different campaigns together, and we never.
Very different play styles.
How's
And
that?
then I like to play the same game over and over.
Oh yeah,
and
she
over
likes to go through making the same exact choices and doing the same things. And I'm like, no, I played good last time. I'm gonna be evil this time.
I got caught up with it in Veilguard because everybody pointed out that they're like, I had said that at the beginning with this dude that he never comes back. You make a choice regarding this dude and he never comes back. Well, all these people were really freaking evil and they leave him there to die. I didn't do that. So in my perspective, nothing happened, but I've been corrected. He turns into a monster and he comes back. You know, if you
He comes back
if
as
you're a jerk.
he comes back as a reskin monster. Yeah. Where do I meet a gamer girlfriend?
Community college.
Community college. That's the secret. Yep. Just kill everyone you see on honor mode. Yeah, that probably is the solution. I want to do it. Maybe we go back to that. Maybe as a Patreon or like a member. I think I'm debating whether we merge Patreon and all the memberships together just to make it easier for everybody. But maybe for members only video, we do an I tried video where me, Nikki, and Jacob do a little campaign.
Oh man, I tried to do an honor mode run. You know how long it lasted?
15 minutes.
12.
Wow.
I was playing a monk. Stupid. I don't know why I played the monk for the first time on honor mode as a gift, and I got out and the little brains at the beginning, right out of the tutorial, knocked me out in one run. And it was like, your honor mode run has ended.
Yep.
That was that fast.
Luality does a bunch of challenge runs, and she like will just casually do it, like no potions, no long resting, no this, no that, no this, no that. I'm like, I can't do it.
Lame.
Like, I think it basically requires certain builds. Like, I saw the one, I don't think it was Luality, it was somebody else, but it was like honor mode, and it was at, I don't remember the name of the big skeleton god thing.
And what?
Baldur's Gate.
Oh, Merkel?
Merkel. They had like a backpack, and I think they fixed it now, but there was a sort of bug exploit thing where you could go through, fill the bag with oil, with like whatever potions or explosives you had collected through the whole game. And then you could take the bag out, throw the bag would break because it had like 1 HP or whatever. It breaks, all the potions fall out, and then you fire a fire arrow, whatever, and blow it all up. And so you could one-shot these big bosses. I think they changed it or patched it, so now either the throwing is super limited or maybe you can't break it as easy. I'm not sure if they ever did that, but I remember that was a big exploit.
Somebody did it with the Elder Brain very recently, and it's spelt with a Y. Myrkul. Wabam.
BG3. Tactician mode. I was hoping I could find the video I was thinking of, but I do not see it.
That was a good time.
This is just funny. This is just a one shot. See, they have the backpack. The backpack is filled with, I think, barrels. Oh, no. And, yep. And so all the barrels pop all at the same time. That's one of those moments where it's like, I think that's too much. I get people like these guys during our D&D campaign. People ask me all the time where they're like, well, technically the rules say that I can do this. One of the biggest debates, and then we'll wrap up with this. One of the biggest debates we got into as a D&D table was this one mission thing I had set up where the details aren't super important, but basically what happened is that there was a beach. Okay. Beach. Ooh, lovely beach.
Is this the Caleb fiasco?
Yeah.
All right.
There's a little rowboat, okay, off the beach in the water, right? In the water. And this is probably like the shallow bit is all this. So you can kind of wade out there and then push in. But what happened is there were two baddies on the boat. One party member was on the boat fighting them. And he had stabbed a small hole in the boat and it was starting to fill with water. And this is like a rowboat that fits maybe, I think 12 was what it was.
Not little.
It's a sizable boat. And Caleb, one of our party members, he ran off into the water and he cast like create destroy water, but he created water and it just barely hooked in here. So it was however many gallons. It was like 10 gallons of water. And it went in the boat. And he's like, and then I did the math on how much the water will weigh. And the water will weigh this amount. And the boat's rated capacity, the average rowboat's weighted capacity is this. And he ran through all this stuff with me. I was like, okay, it is now, there's water in the boat. Next turn. And he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, the water is in the boat. It's filling up the boat. Like, what did you expect? And he like,
He's gonna die on that hill. He's like,
it turned into this like, yeah, he turned it into this big deal. I was like, it is sinking. Boats don't just like
slowly
plop. One round of combat in D&D is 6 real world seconds. So you filled it with water. If it takes time to go like that, that's more than one turn. So it's filled with water. It's sinking now, but it's not just going to drop like a rock. It's now underwater. That's not how sinking works. And it turned into this whole thing. It's still something we reference today. It's like, well, how much water would it take to sink that? I go and I get a new set of armor. Okay, but how much water would it take to sink that?
I think my favorite one we've come across was specifically being charmed by a monster that was choking on another teammate. I remember I looked at you and I said, so if I'm charmed by the monster and I can't physically injure it and I'm supposed to be helping it, I said, would it be rule breaking if I tried to give it the Heimlich because it's choking on one of my companions?
And it's like, technically it's choking, yeah, because one of them got swallowed and then turned their like axe or hammer or whatever sideways to get caught in the throat. And it was clever, but then
like, I'm not trying to harm it. I'm trying to help it to the best of my ability. The monster is choking. Just so happens to be on one of my buddies.
Yeah, it was funny. Yeah.
I'll let you do your stuff. Sorry.
No, we're gonna wrap up. You're good. You're fine. Let's see. Let me catch up on these super chats and stuff real quick. Fish, thank you for the membership. Drive Ice, thank you for the 10. I feel like a lot of games keep pushing this, want to give you a companion in order to give you hints at this point. I just want to travel without the companion. Yeah, it's just, I keep trying to figure out what the reason is for it. And I really think it's this approach to like try and make games more accessible, quote unquote. But again, I think that some of the biggest games every year demonstrate that you really don't need like to hold players' hands. Like players are very, very capable. Like they're smart. They'll be fine. But like whatever consultants are telling these people that they need to hold everybody's hand with everything they do, like they don't know what they're talking about. Okay. Like just don't. I want a companion, not a babysitter. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah. Where was I? Vitones, thank you for that. It's like Horizon Zero Dawn, orange stuff everywhere to climb. Yeah, where it's, I really think it is like consultants, like accessibility consultants that are brought in and told how do we make the game more approachable to people? And they're like, oh, we'll have companions explain how to do puzzles because some people are puzzly challenged, and do this and do that. And I'm all for games being able to be more accessible and making games that are more approachable for people, that more people can play. I think all that's great. My point is, make it a toggle. If you need the help, you can go in the settings and turn it on. But for everybody else who just wants to play the game and think, give them that ability. Like, by default, don't have that in. Give people the option to turn on it if they really need it, you know? Yeah. Where else was I? Spec Ops, thank you for this 5, and thank you for the correction. Just wanted to fact check you, bro. Student loans get discharged when you die. Was catching on the stream, lol. Well, that is very good to hear. I will tell my my person in my family for whom that will be relevant. Unfortunately, soon, probably. I will let them know. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Rambling Entertained, thank you 5. Thank you for the 5. The combat animations still look like next gen TES online. I don't hate it, but this feels like it was going to be a live service. I think it's just clunky Obsidian. I think that's just how it is. Edgar, thank you for the 5. I'm a reactionary gamer. I don't evaluate based on packages. Good for you. Wei Zhang, thank you for that 6. Luke, are you interested in checking out the new trailer for Showa American Story? Yeah, was it you that asked last stream about it? I think somebody came in and asked about it. We had it pulled up maybe a week or 2 ago. I haven't seen the interest in it to justify like a full segment on it, but if they keep dropping more footage and it keeps impressing, then we can definitely do like a full deep dive look at it. Let's see. Okay, I think we're caught up there. R Duffy again, thank you for that sub. Ooh baby, thank you. Okay. What's crazy is she solos these bosses without cheese. Yeah, no, I mean, Luality is insane. Like one of the sweetest, nicest people you'll ever meet too. Like the first time I met Luality, we were at the Dragon Age preview and we're at the hotel. I show up, I check in, I see a couple people I know, we say hi, but then I go up to my room to drop off my bags and everything. Then I'm like, I'll come back down and I'll meet you guys at the bar restaurant thing. I come down after getting set up in the room, and I come into the sort of waiting area, I guess, for the restaurant. There's like tables and chairs, but it's not really part of the restaurant. It's just outside. And Luality's there, and she's sitting at a table with an older gentleman, maybe 60, 70 years old, and they're just chatting. And, you know, we obviously, like, we recognize each other. It's like, oh, we're going to go to the event. I sit down because I assume this guy is part of the group, and I'm like, oh, he must be a developer or something, or part of the marketing team or something. Let's talk. So I sat down and we all start chatting, and she's like, oh no, I just met him. He's a very nice guy, or whatever it was. His name is Brad or whatever. And it literally was just some guy in the hotel lobby. She like sat down next to him and they talked for like 45 minutes and just were hanging out, chatting. And then I came, sat down, and we chatted for a while, and then he just gets up and he goes off to do whatever he had to do. But like, she's just that welcoming and like chatty that she'll just make friends with anybody, anywhere. And it really is impressive. It really is impressive. It gives me social anxiety how not socially anxious she is. Like her already, I need to watch her. Yeah, no, I mean, that's, some people think that like online personas maybe are hammed up, or people that like are fake or something, like, oh, they're not really that bubbly in real life. No, Luality seriously is like exactly how she is on stream. It's kind of hilarious, but like 1-to-1. It's very funny. It's very, very cool. But anyway, I'm going to call it there. We're going to go get lunch. Thank you all for being with me. Thanks for hanging with me. You guys are amazing. I appreciate the gosh darn heck out of every single one of you. You guys are amazing. We'll be back Monday, rocking and rolling with more gaming goodness, and we'll have lots to go through. It's going to be a good time. Okay. Bye-bye, Dad. Have a good day. Yes, you too, everybody. Much love. I'll see you in the next one. Go watch the video I did on Star Wars Outlaws on the main channel yesterday, okay? You might have already seen it, but if you haven't, go check it out. Much love. I'll see you soon. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye. I'll play you out with a song, okay? I won't leave you hanging. We'll play it out with Lego Horizon. See you guys.
Using some big property, but you already did Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and Lord of the Rings. But I think there's still one option that you've yet to explore. It's the series about a girl and her robotic dinosaurs. Now I know what you're all thinking. Hey, isn't this a bit of a stretch? Horizon's fan base has been shrinking. It might be pretty, but there's always a catch. I've only met one person in my whole damn life who had an insatiable Horizon appetite. Everybody else doesn't care that much, but Herman Hulse doesn't really give a fuck. So here you go, world, it's Horizon again. If you got money, it's time to spend. It's got multiplayer, find a friend. Ooh, open up your mouth, girl, let me pour some Horizon in. It's sweet like honey, so give us all your money. Oh wait, oh fuck, no one's buying the game. I thought Horizon was as cool as Star Wars. I guess it turns out it's just kinda lame. Ooh, holy crap, oh no, why doesn't anybody care? Horizon is just as cool as all those other Lego games. Even though the evidence makes it seem like it's irrelevant, Lego Horizon flopped. I'm not sure why they bothered trying. Ooh, all of its fans must have been lying. Lego Horizon flopped. Horizon. Guess Sony is gonna have to try again. Skeep-a-doop-bop, boop, deep-a-deep-a-doo-da, Robo-dino, skip-bop, skip-bop, beep-a-deep-a-deep-a-boo-bop, going till the doo-dot, beep-bop-a-noo-ta. Horizon should never had a Lego game. Whoever greenlit that must have been fucking insane. Lego Horizon flopped. I'm not sure why they bothered trying. All of its fans must have been lying. Lego Horizon flopped. Horizon. Guess Sony is gonna have to try again. Sorry, Herman Hulse. Guess you didn't make a new Star Wars after all. Sorry, Herman Hulse. Just another day of ya dropping the ball.